welcome to Scripts and Giggles with Shoshana
and Marnie. I have asked Shoshana to watch a TikTok video that I saw because I really wanted to get her thoughts. So we will link the TikTok video down below, but we're getting Shoshana's live reaction to this TikTok.
Do I need to put sound or no sound? Well, we'll play it and then we'll see if I have to put it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's only us will do this.
Let me give you a quick description if you're not able to look at the video right now. It is a wedding and at the wedding the dancers there is a dance performance
so I read the comments first
by several people dressed as Spider-Man dancing to Amapiano. And I saw this and I said, where is the line? Honestly, where is the line in terms of like, if your partner says to you, I love Spider-Man, right? I love Spider-Man. I want him to be part of our wedding. I want Spider-Man to be part of our wedding. I was thinking maybe while we're eating dinner, we could just have somebody dressed as Spider-Man.
To be the MC.
Maybe go around, ask people how they're doing, interviews, or perhaps he does a performance, like a live performance. Like, what are you thinking?
The only way that Spider-Man can come to my wedding is if we were inviting Tom Holland as a guest. In his suit, and he brings Zendaya. That's the only way.
I have a lot of, like, weird things that I like.
Yeah.
But if...
I'm sorry, this is wild.
I saw this and I said, it's not every day.
No. It's not.
Like, if you want people to come and dance Amapiano at your wedding, you can do that. Why do they need to be dressed as Spider-Man? It's like 8 thin men. And
would you want to see 8 thin guys?
No, just explain this to your mum.
Yeah, true. Honestly.
Explain what is happening here to your parents.
I mean, the first comment is, the groom wanted this since his 6-year-old birthday, but the parents refused. Now he made use of his opportunity.
Like, what?
I mean, to me, it could have been.
But what would?
It's not even a birthday thing.
It's not even a birthday thing. What would you if Bae came up and was like, "Listen, I have been thinking about our wedding since I was 6.
Okay.
And obviously this is your day, it's my day, and we're doing lots of lovely things together. But I was just thinking, what if we got each other like special gifts at the wedding?
Okay.
Like, say I got you, like, you love the Lord. So what if I brought your favourite priest to do like a sermon?
Okay.
Or maybe I got Kirk Franklin to come and do a live set.
Okay.
And then you could get me, for example... 4 Spider-Man. Sorry, you could get me, for example, 4 people dressed as Spider-Man, Dr. Octopus, the Green Goblin, and Venom, and they perform a scene where Spider-Man beats all 3 of them.
The only way that this would be acceptable.
First of all, yes or no?
No.
Why?
There's so many things I'm questioning, even the why. Like,
please.
No, but also, like, the only way that this would be acceptable is if we met at Comic-Con.
No way.
And you were dressed as Spider-Man.
No way. Why the Amapiano? Why is it dance? No way. There's actually no way.
The only way that I can bring to this is sentimental to how we met and it's part of our love story. That we saw 8 skinny Spider-Men dancing to Amapiano. We looked at each other going, what's the joke? And then that's what got us talking, and then that's why we married. So we brought those same 8 skinny Spider-Men to come and dance. That is the only way that this would be acceptable. To me, if my man asked me that, I'd be like, I love you, and I will get you like a vintage first edition Spider-Man comic as my gift to you.
Right, yeah.
But there's no way that you're going to ruin my ceremony by bringing this event.
Your ceremony?
I've been dreaming about this. You've been dreaming since you were 6. I've been dreaming about this since I was 3. I had my Barbie and my Ken, my black Barbie and Ken in their wedding dresses. I already created a ceremony.
And I'm saying, okay, this is for when we're eating dinner. Like, people aren't on the dance floor.
But people will be looking. This is what people will be looking at.
People need stuff to look at.
No, they can look at the jollof in front of them.
Yeah, but then they can look up and be like, oh.
The crazy thing is like, again, it's the whole like, wow. And do you know what? It's even wild. It's like you can tell it's such a traditional white wedding.
Yeah, the worst thing, the rest of the wedding is just like your classic white wedding.
Yeah.
Like they're clearly in the hall now. It is surely food time.
Exactly.
There is no one else on the dance floor bar these 8 skinny. And I cannot stress enough that they are skinny.
They have to be uniform.
It is important that they're skinny because I actually think that's what makes it even funnier. Yeah. Because it's like they would rather be sat at the table eating this meal, but you've got them up here dancing as Spider-Man. And how do you even hire them? Do you hire them and then ask them to dress as Spider-Man? Or did you see them dancing as Spider-Man before and then you said you should come?
What if it's their groomsmen?
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, don't
What are they going to eat?
Yeah. Afterwards,
our friend told us a story today about how she went to someone's house and they didn't provide her with lunch. Yeah. And I'm telling you, you have to. The older you get, the more important those meals become. True. If we're gonna have the groomsmen doing that, when are they gonna eat?
Maybe they've eaten before.
When
they've eaten before the dance. They're shaking it off the dance. They're shaking off the food. To me, this is a South African wedding.
Because lots of people like Amapiano.
Yeah, but.
Lots of people, you know. Have you ever seen the videos of people getting Bumblebee from the Transformer films to dance to Amapiano at weddings?
No, I haven't seen that.
Listen, it's not actually a new thing getting a film or TV character to dance to Amapiano.
This is the why. You know what? It's even wild. It's not like, okay, everyone's got different views about having kids at weddings. It's not like this is the kids part of the wedding section in the wedding where they bring like a character just to entertain the kids. This is at someone's adult wedding.
I'm trying to think of something that I might want at my wedding that my partner would be like,
Would you ever do drag race runway in your ceremony?
I would love that. Not at the ceremony, maybe at the reception.
No, the ceremony is wild. Sorry, I mean the reception, yeah.
You know how they have like classic. I'm saying the quote unquote traditional thing now is to have the bridesmaids and groomsmen dance cut that. I don't really see my friends dance. I've seen them dance before. What I want is for people to come in now and intro as if they are coming on to Drag Race. So in Drag Race, episode 1, everyone walks in and says their catchphrase and then does a pose. And that's cute. Now what I want my friends to be doing. I want them to walk in and be like, "Hi, the bitch is back," and then they'll be like, God. "I don't know how you do the," and then they do the confessionals. We've already pre-filmed the confessionals, so they'll walk in and be like, "The bitch is back," and then the professional will be like, "Hi, I'm Marnie. I'm 15, and I'm from London. I'm here to snatch that crown." Maybe that's what I'll do.
Do you know what I actually say?
It'll be fun. You guys would find that so fun.
It would be fun to do, yeah. But then how do we bring the groomsmen in?
They do the same thing.
Okay, so we're going to be
Everyone has an intro. Because
so
some people at this wedding might not know each other, so it's important for you guys to intro each other, be introed.
True. My question to you: how many groomsmen/bridesmaids do you think is acceptable for yourself? Because I know everyone's got their own preference. How many would you ideally want?
I have lots of close friends. This is my problem. I have lots of close friends. I don't really have acquaintances. I would allow my partner to dictate. Like if they had 4 groomsmen, I would have to turn around to the squad and be like,
kick rocks.
We're gonna, and I've already decided. I'm not even gonna do Let's Draw Straw.
Oh no, draw.
I already ranked you guys in terms of my favourites. So if your name's not called, understand you are not important to me. No,
you have not been chosen to be America's Next Top Model.
Please pack your things and leave.
Oh my God, I do understand.
If I don't draw your picture, I'm gonna do exactly like that. Shoshana.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
This week you were close to leaving.
How dare you? Do you know what? It's really hard because I now.
And then I'll play the music. You know the music when they fade your picture. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with a friend that does not make the cut.
Absolutely crazy.
No, I wouldn't make a ceremony of it because I'm not a cruel person. Well, I would just be like, listen, here's the thing.
Numbers.
They only has 2 friends.
Yeah.
Maybe some of you guys can become groomsmen. And then we can even it out, and then everybody gets a role.
Oh, it would be fun to wear a suit.
Wouldn't it be fun to wear a suit?
It would be fun to wear a suit.
Fun to get to know Bay a bit better?
That's your babe. I get it.
He needs a groomsman.
He does need a groomsman. But you know what? Maybe my friend.
I don't like. Yeah,
my friend, the unofficial bridesmaid. I know a lot of people did not like that.
No, I don't.
I didn't mind it. It made it. I understood why she did it because she had a cousin and her sister as a bridesmaids instead.
Yeah, I've already said my sister's going to be my maid of honor because I don't want the girls to fight because the girls they're fighting. The girls are fighting. I don't want the girls to fight. I think. Like, I don't want there to be 50 people stood behind me because who's going to be in the pews?
That's true.
Like, these are literally everyone. This is everyone I know.
Yeah, it's a big question. I have no idea. I mean, at least I have a sister that helps with at least minimum one. Yeah. We'll figure out the rest. Maybe if I'm close with the other sister, with his sister, maybe she'll be part of it.
I didn't give her...
Cut.
No, she can be a groomsman.
She could,
because I don't want I want to be chatting shit about his family, and I can't do that if she's there.
But I would love to love his family.
No, and I think that's a good trait.
But that being said, yeah, it's not easy.
Me personally, I want to be like, guys.
No, because that's your family now.
Why was she wearing white?
That's your family now.
Why is she wearing white? That's crazy.
Honestly,
to the rehearsal dinner.
That's your family.
She's jealous of me.
Yeah, that's your family. Fam.
No, I don't want to put that negative energy out there. I just think, we're not joined yet as a family.
Yeah.
So I think his sister should be on his side, my sister's on my side. Okay. We get married, and then maybe at the reception, everyone's in the same clothes. Yeah. So maybe we come in, my girlies are in my colours.
Yeah. Sounds like an African wedding.
His girlies are in his colours.
Okay.
And then at reception, all of a sudden everybody's in one colour because we're family now.
Oh, that's very sweet. We're a family.
Sweet. Yeah.
That's very sweet.
And we can have as many grooms. So maybe the bridesmaids that didn't make the cut for the ceremony.
Yeah.
Surprise!
You are now part of...
Welcome to Top Table.
Oh my God.
You've been invited to the exclusive club of Top Table.
Yeah, no, I think, you know what? I can't answer that question because it depends on.
Do you think you have any weird requests that your partner might be like, okay?
For me, not particularly, because I feel like it's so hard because weddings and marriage feel so far away, which is it shouldn't be, but I can't. Some stuff I just can't imagine. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine what that ceremony would look like. But because also I just keep on thinking it's gonna be small. So if he was like, oh, I want 150 people there, I'd be like, no,
it's not gonna work for me.
It's not gonna work because I've always known.
I only know 15 people. So it's quite clear about
it's gonna be a relatively small wedding. Anything that I think he would say we
can't know what he's gonna say.
Oh, so sorry. If anything that he would say to me, that I'd be like,
No, is there anything that you would request that you think that would then allow him to be like, can I bring my Spider-Man? Because I was thinking, what I would love, and this is as a gift from my partner to me, I don't want to have to arrange this.
Yeah,
is for him to have arranged a DJ set.
Oh, nice.
With like someone I've always been obsessed with.
Yeah.
At that point, I do think I have to give him the Spider-Man. Yeah, do you know what I mean? But it's like, also, how about I end up marrying someone whose dream was to have Spider-Man's dancing, and mine was to have like Calvin Harris DJ our wedding. Not Calvin Harris, by the way, because that's not that man's real name.
What's his name?
Something different. I've told this story before to you, surely.
What?
Calvin Harris renamed himself Calvin Harris because he thought it sounded more ethnic.
I didn't know that. Also, what?
Look it up.
No joke. What ethnicity?
He didn't want people to know he was white.
But Calvin Harris.
Calvin
is the most.
He said Calvin sounded.
Oh, if he called himself Calvin Harris, it'd be different.
The name is Calvin Harris.
No, but I mean, if he. Wait, what's his real name?
His real name is like Greg Shaw.
Yeah, but I mean, like Calvin is a white name. And
no, he said Calvin is not a white name.
What does he think? Where does he think Calvin Harris is from?
Guess.
Australia. I'm so sorry, that's not...
I just said he wanted it to sound more ethnic. You said Australia.
So you think he sounds black?
He said... He
so
wanted people to think that Calvin Harris was black.
That's a joke. The only way that Calvin Harris...
He's not joking.
The only way that Calvin... I just think Calvin...
He couldn't do Daquan because he knew people would find that crazy. Calvin...
I don't think I've met a black Calvin.
Have you met a white Calvin?
Calvin Klein.
You did not meet that man. I said, did you meet... You have not met that man.
I'm so sorry. Actually, all the Calvins I know are white.
Name another one.
Calvin Klein.
Name another one, I said.
There's not many famous Calvins. You need to step up and come into the game, man.
He literally said that. And
I'm
after
sorry,
I found
that's
that out,
wild.
I said, damn. This is really going to have to be a case of separating the art from the artist, because I love that Calvin Harris music, but that's sketchy as hell.
Imagine that his wife, like he's having a conversation, and his wife is mixed race.
Is she?
Yeah.
No, that tracks.
Yeah, his wife is
Who's
mixed
his
race.
wife?
Something Hope, Vicky Hope.
Vicky Hope?
She's a presenter.
Oh, I know who that is.
Yeah, she's a presenter, yeah.
That's his wife. Didn't he used to be with Katy Perry? Who is he with? No. Taylor Swift.
He also dated Rita Ora as well.
And Rita Ora.
Yeah. Calvin Harris.
Tricky thought Rita Ora was... Because everyone thought Rita Ora was...
Yeah, she's not. She's Albanian, I think. It's a joke. Absolute joke.
Nothing is funnier than when I found out... I was like, Rita Ora's not...
No.
She...
No, she
Why?
Sorry, her name is not Vicky Hope, it's Vic Hope.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Yeah. She's stunning.
She's pretty.
Yeah.
She's a pretty girl.
She is.
Isn't she young? What? Because he's like 40.
Yeah, exactly. Not no. But yeah, I perfectly honest, going back to the traditions, I don't think there's anything that I would ask for my wedding ceremony that would be out of the ordinary.
Do you want your partner to wear traditional dress even if he's not Nigerian?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. But there's only one part of the ceremony that would have that. Like, I don't, even if he's not Nigerian. Yeah, that's fine. As long as, like, we're not doing the traditional, so I don't need him to be doing, like, prostrating in front of my family. Like, that doesn't need to happen. But let's all stand together and let's dance, and they spray money at us. And hopefully he's from a different culture so we can wear some of his traditional dress.
I saw, two things that are in keeping with this conversation. I saw a video. So, I think it's, I'm going to say Ghanaian people, but I think it's specific to certain tribes, have this dance called Aduwa.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a video of a wedding, clearly Ghanaian bride, white groom, and he was doing the traditional dance.
Okay.
And I said, we need to stop this.
Oh,
As in, like, I'm not saying we need to stop interracial marriage. Yeah. No, I don't. Like, I get it. It's, oh, wow, he really cares about you and your culture. Yeah. But equally, it's like, and then you film this and put this on the internet. It's like, what everyone's going to get in the comments being like, wow, a white man did. Like, I just don't know. Like, stop. No. Your family know he's white. Nobody's sitting here being like, white? Like, they know. It's enough that he's wearing the traditional clothes, which at this point, now I've seen so many videos of it, I'm like,
it's fine. But
I don't know if I like this even.
So if you would, okay, so I think we both said that we're not really down for the traditional wedding, like a full on. But would you have a moment in the ceremony where you're wearing kente?
I would, because I'm.
Oh, so he's wearing suit, you're wearing kente.
He can wear whatever his traditional country clothes is.
Do you know what? That'd be kind of sweet if like he's wearing like let's say he's from Asia, he's wearing like a traditional Asian.
He's wearing a kimono.
I just said set. I have no idea what it is. Yeah, he's wearing a fit. And you're wearing your own traditional fit, and then you dance together. Do you know what? That would be cute. That would be cute.
Okay, and then far from this, so then I saw a video of another couple. He is Asian, she is African. I don't know where specifically. And for the reception, they switched cultures. So she's in a sari, and he is in. Whatever, I don't like, for a man, he's like got the hat, he's got a little cane, and I was like, this is cute, actually. This is very cute. I like this. So clearly, but I wonder if really the point I'm trying to make is I don't want to see any more white people
wearing African dress,
but I don't mind any other ethnicity wearing other ethnicities' clothes.
Okay, so basically,
keep the white.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
I obviously I'm not,
Because you could be with a white.
Huh?
Oh yeah. I have to cut that out.
Huh? Don't start.
No, but I get your point. I think if I was with someone, I would hope that they have their own culture, and we'll have a section that is
What if your partner was Scottish and he was wearing a kilt? Does that count?
Yeah, then that's.
And at some point you will wear the kilt, or?
Yeah, why not? I went not the kilt. You know, like the traditional dress where you have the little sash around. Not however traditional you can get. Look,
I don't want to wear that.
I think have you seen it wasn't like the best scene in the world because they were arguing, but like in Sex and the City.
No, I haven't watched that show.
Okay, so
sorry, that's the one show I actually haven't watched.
And You're missing out. I've
I know.
rewatched it multiple times.
And do you know why I didn't watch that show? Because Sex in the City. I said,
yes,
just that for me, honey.
But
I watched one episode once, and it was literally open with Carrie using a sex swing, and I said, I am literally 14. This is too much for me, honey.
Yeah.
And I know there was lots of other 14-year-olds that were like, yes, I'm learning. I was scandalized. I said, turn this off.
I did watch Sex and the City at a young age, and then I rewatched it multiple times. I really enjoyed Sex and the City.
And that tells you a lot about Shoshana.
No, it doesn't. It's just, I just think I was there for the friendships. Again, as someone who
was there for the friendships.
As someone who believed that I would probably live in New York when I was older, I loved it for New York because it really glamorized what New York is, and then I've been there, and actually
that was Gossip Girl for me. I was like, this is where I need to live because of Gossip Girl. Like, I need to be on Gossip Girl. That's where I need to be.
I know. When I went, I fell in love with it, but now I would not be living in New York.
Rip America.
I'm so sorry.
Concept.
I'm so sorry.
But yeah. So you're saying you don't. There's nothing weird that you would do.
No, I don't think that I can think of. I just, as long as we have
the. Do you think you would make people perform? Because I've also been thinking about this. I don't know if I'm going to make my friends dance.
No, neither will I.
I don't think I want to dance.
No, that's the other thing. Like I mean,
I will dance. But no, I mean, I just don't want to do a performance.
No, I mean,
do you remember that couple? Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Do you remember that those videos of that girl who did she did a performance and her partner did a performance and then they got changed. It was like It was a set.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
No, it's to me, it's hard because the wedding is a celebration of your love. It's also like a kind of a stamp of your personality as a couple, and you're kind of showing your guests and your family, your friends, like, this is who we are, this is us, we're married. And I get that, and I love that. I like a party, I like to celebrate, but I don't want too much attention on me. Maybe that sounds really weird. As someone who's been to multiple weddings, there's so many eyes on you. I just want to have a good time. I want all my friends to have good food, have a celebration with me. It doesn't need to be like complete center of attention. Mind you, when I get to that point, I may change my mind. But the whole idea of me doing a performance, there's so much pressure that I put on myself. For my day, I paid for you guys to see me try and do a song. Yeah, no. The only time I want to do that is when we are in the Ankara, and they're spraying money. I'll happily do that. Because it's a tradition. We've all been there. I've imagined that.
I have just had a thought while we've been talking. And I think in lieu of the performance, I think me and my partner should shoot a making of documentary, which we play. So you see us before the wedding, you see us getting ready on the day.
How are you guys going to...
Someone's going to have to go edit that.
Yeah, how are you going to get edited?
We'll hire a crew to follow us around.
So all the way up to the point where you're walking down the aisle.
Yeah, it'll be like an episode of Love Island. You know how they edit those really and they're out in 2 hours.
That's true, actually.
And everyone will get a section where they can have their talking heads, and then we get to see them at the wedding. And then and also the lights will go down so people can watch the documentary. When the lights come up, we'll be in our new clothes for the reception.
That's really cute. I love that idea.
And then we'll be like, let's get this party started.
Hit
it. And then when the camera pans, at this point we're all in person, so there's no more cameras. But the camera will pan at that point for the people who don't have good views, who are out in the stalls.
I don't know.
The DJ is
Calvin Harris.
Kate Trinada.
Oh my gosh.
And then he just drops free fall. Everyone goes crazy. I go crazy. I take my first hit of the mushroom, go nuts.
Okay, wow.
I'm not going to be on drugs at my wedding.
That went left. All I'm going to say, if you want to do that, I love that for you. I'm just going to have a good time, celebrate, not...
It'll be a little secret between me and my partner. We won't tell anyone.
Then we'll be like, why?
Mushrooms.
Those guys were just on another level.
They're just touching each other's faces.
So in love. I've never seen my friend in such a touchy way. She's not that tactile, but she's so
crying.
The heck?
Shaking.
No, I think...
I would not...
I love that.
I wouldn't do... It would go so far to do the mushrooms, but I would... This is crazy because I'm asking him to do this as a surprise for me. So I already know it's coming. But it'd be great if the documentary was then live for a portion, like Love Island is sometimes, just live for a portion. So we're in the actual studio. I'll get married in the studio in the venue, and the camera pans around, and it's Kate Trinada being like,
you know what, that'd be...
being like, Marnie, so and so loves you so much, and he wanted to dedicate this song to you. Play the literally the venue is vibrating.
That would be so fun. I'll be honest.
I'll be sobbing my eyes out.
Yeah, that would be so fun to celebrate that with you. It's like
balloons from the sky.
Oh my God. So I thought you wanted something smaller, quiet, subdued.
But you can do that if it's small and quiet.
That is
right,
true.
because
that
it's less
true.
balloons. It's not 150 balloons now.
True,
50.
it's just 50.
It's 15.
Like poop, poop, poop. I was thinking basically it's 20 people, us and his friends, just having a time. That would be such a fun
That's
time.
what I want.
I'm sorry, that's so.
Ideally, that's what I want. Already. Well, we're not going to talk about weddings for much longer, but
yeah,
I've said this to you before. I want a destination wedding.
Yeah, you did say that.
Family only.
Yeah.
Well, like close friends, family.
Yeah.
Everyone's there for the ceremony, reception. You guys can go back to your villas.
Yeah, nice.
The kids that want to party can stay and party. I'm trying to be up until 6.
Yeah, okay, I don't think I'll be up at 6 a.m. But I'll be partying. I will come. I'm not the biggest partier, but there's days I have to come and party.
I would really love for everyone to have. This is again maybe too much work for you guys.
Jesus,
you guys will already be working because I guess bridesmaids do work. But it'd be great if everyone had like an hour or half-hour set.
Oh, DJ set.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, our friend already has got her. Yeah, she's got her training.
Like everyone, you could do a playlist if you want. Yeah. But if everyone had
like a. My music.
Well, it's my wedding, so don't just be putting on gospel.
There's some good.
I don't want to hear "Now Behold the Lamb."
Fam, you will now behold the lamb to start with the vacation. Tell them how we do it. Then all of a sudden they'll be like, do.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that.
Or Kirk Franklin would do like. All of a sudden, Kirk Franklin's there, like literally.
He is literally here in the place doing a live show,
and everyone will be like, "Can you hit me? Oh yeah, we're going nowhere." Okay, anyway, we'll make it live, but I will still do a mix.
Only select people, because obviously we can't have everyone at the party getting on and doing a half hour, but like select people, probably just the bridal party and the groom's party who have a half hour set. We have half hour sets as well.
That's fun.
I think we should close out the show.
Yeah, I think you should. But together, right? Or separately?
Oh yeah, we stuck together now because we're married.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
God.
So you're going to do separate?
Yeah, because I'm putting on songs to surprise him, and then he's putting on songs to surprise me.
Nice.
Basically, I'm imagining that a relationship is just the two who do surprise.
So no one talks, just surprise, 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 surprise,
surprise, surprise. That's what I want. I just want to be constantly like, I have clearly chosen the right person for me, because every single surprise hits.
Yeah, you've written the surprise in your mind, told him that you wanted it as a surprise, and he surprised you with a surprise.
Yeah, but I feel like my partner will be like, I'm not going to do that.
And
he'll just keep saying it and then do it. Yeah, that was a surprise.
I think, all of this sounds amazing. And I love that you already have the order of ceremony already planned.
I just want it to be an event.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, I just want it to be an event. Like, I just want to be like, we really did all the things that we've like always wanted to do. Yeah. Like, I would love to just do that as an event anyway. Like, get all my friends to do like a half-hour set. I was like, this is an opportunity. It's like, how like a couple of weeks ago we were talking about on your birthday's the time where you can get people to do stuff that like you want them to do. Yeah. Like, I view the wedding as an extension of that. Like, you guys have to, like, we won't ask you to do this, you have to do it. They're fun things, obviously. We're not asking you to like donate a kidney or anything.
Once money is like, I've said so, we must do it.
I personally just feel like, don't waste my time.
Your time won't be wasted.
Exactly. So if you're going to come, if you're going to be part of the bride, if you're going to start having an attitude about stuff I'm asking, because it's given now I'm going to bump you down to B-list.
Excuse me. No, I'm here. I'm always going to be here to celebrate, do whatever needs to be done.
I don't want to hear, I didn't have time to do my playlist.
No, I'll do my playlist. And the thing is, I would probably run past you because I don't want to be embarrassing myself.
Take that out.
Yeah, and also because I know my friend has like impeccable taste in terms of music. For someone that listens to 3,000 songs a year, so I would definitely actually want to get her insight onto what songs I should be using. I will give you my theme.
I will let you know. I won't tell you what songs to use because I want it to feel like the set comes on, people know it's Shoshana's set.
Okay, and also
I will tell you what songs have been repeated.
Okay, that would be important. And also I will put some songs that I think like fun, like significant to our friendship.
Yeah.
Some of them will be inside jokes. Yeah. And that's how I would like it to be.
Yeah, I would like that as well. I want my partner to be like, why have they played 8 hymns in a row? I'm like, because these are important hymns from our school.
But I also know that some of our other girls would definitely throw a hymn in.
I mean, I love a good hymn. Personally,
they'll throw a good hymn in.
I'll throw him in.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, no, that would be fun. Let me. I need to think more about what.
Can you please think about it?
I just don't have much at the moment. I'm thinking. There's one big thing that needs to kind of happen for me.
No, but you have to start thinking about it, because remember how our friend was like, "I want a stripper."
Yeah.
And we knew that, so we were like, "Okay, we're gonna have to build this entire hen party around the stripper." Yeah. But that was something that she had always wanted. Me personally, I don't.
No.
But I do feel like that I want it to be an event. So we are going to shoot this documentary.
That's nice.
And we are going to have this DJ set. And Kate Tronado, if you're listening,
call us.
Clear your diary on that date, whatever date that is.
We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. I will come up with some ideas in the future. But at the moment, one big hurdle needs to be cleared.
I don't see there's any hurdles in my life personally. For me, God has already cleared the way.
Yeah. The thing is, I hate you, but that's actually 100% true. He has really cleared the way. I think.
What hurdle?
For me, I'm still in the visualizing what I want to see. I've only saw a dress I actually liked.
Really?
Yeah, and like
I don't get. I'm not really looking at dresses.
That's crazy. And that's because I'm TikTok. I fell into the TikTok, unfortunately.
I'm not looking at dresses, but I know I want to be the event planner.
Okay, so you want that job. That's very similar. Do you know what? I have had 3 other friends, who have planned their own weddings. Like, no wedding planning in sight.
Yeah, unless the event planner was literally a clone of me.
Yeah,
there'd have to be a very lengthy conversation about, okay, so this is my vibe.
Yeah.
Like, you've met me now.
So this is what I want.
So whenever you think that you might like something,
read my mind.
Think again. And honey, what do you think? And like, can we please have bacon?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Good one, I think it's a good idea that you plan it.
Yeah.
But I also think you have like such specific taste, and that's not a mean thing.
That feels like a read.
It's not a read. I mean it. Like, you have such a high standard in terms of your taste and your quality. It has to be premium.
Everything has to be premium.
Yeah. So no shortcuts.
Nothing from Primark. I'm saying that to you.
As someone who is wearing, I'll be honest, a good chunk of myself is on Primark or Shein right now. What I'm wearing
How can you be shopping at Shein? It's so bad for the environment.
I know, this is from Shein. But this was before. I haven't shopped at Shein in like 2 years.
I've never bought anything from Shein.
Yeah, I haven't bought anything from.
That's because I respect the planet.
I know, I agree. Like, Shein is horrible.
And myself.
But this is a really cute top.
Show us the top. She's stripping! Okay.
It's cute. It's not cute. Idiot.
I never said it wasn't cute.
Your silence was definitely.
I said it. I said okay. See, this is what I was talking about earlier. See? People need me to say, "Oh, I love your top."
So I should take your silence as that was nice. I don't care. I like it, fam.
I never said it was. I didn't say that weird.
Fam, she was quiet. Mind you, when she wears something nice, I'm like, girls, that's so cute. I like her jumper even. Look at that.
Thank you.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much. When I think about wedding ideas, I'm gonna let you know. But maybe I was just texting to you, so I don't see your face when you're just silent. I'm like, wow. Let me just scrap this whole idea. Now.
I will actually take a video of me reading the text.
What the hell is this?
I know you're joking.
No, I think
Shoshana, call me right now.
So I'm someone who's I'm subtle. I want to just have a good time with my friends and my family.
Yeah.
And like close friends, close family, no uninvited guests.
Oh.
That's not even shade. That's for the aunties and uncles that think that they can jump on the plane and be like, let me come and visit.
Auntie, please, if you've got money to waste it, because there will be no accommodation for you here, so you have to also book a hotel.
Also, I've seen wedding venues where like the guests are all like in a circle around the bride and groom, and there's something about it that I think it's probably really sweet.
Or just looking in.
No, like that the ceremony is like a circle.
Oh, they're all just standing in a circle?
No, sitting in a circle.
Oh, I don't like that.
I kind of like it. I've seen it, and it's actually there's something very sweet about it. Mind you, the angles are interesting, but I just think...
Yeah, do you want to be looking at the back of my ass the whole time? Maybe. Maybe.
Well, if you have a say on my dress, it'll probably be a view to see.
You guys can't see what I'm doing.
She's 100% not.
Shoshana is going to be looking right and tight. The thing about... I'm not going to talk about this on the podcast again, because I feel like we talked about it.
We did.
But just trust and believe, when Shoshana gets married, If you guys in the comments be like, you look good, it's because of me.
No, do you know what? You can definitely have a say on my reception dress.
I'm gonna have a say on all of your dresses.
No, reception dress you can hand.
I'm gonna have a say on all of them. You can take the advice or not.
Oh yeah, true.
But I'm gonna give it.
I think the wedding dress, the main one, I want that to be not conservative. Let's throw that out there. But it can get sluttier and sluttier as the wedding.
I don't want you to look slutty.
So it can look more provocative.
Again, these are not my words. These are yours. I said. The fit is important to me.
Yeah, but we can get.
There's nothing about slut. There's nothing about provocative. I'm saying, why are you going to swamp your body in fabric upon fabric upon fabric? Why?
No, I mean, as the days goes on, we can remove less clothing, less and less layers. Okay.
I'm going to say my piece.
Yeah, you say your piece. I know.
I will say my piece.
But either way. You would definitely have a say on the reception dress because that dress I wanted to pow. I'm like I'm married now.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Let's move on from weddings.
Let's get to our reviews.
Yes, do that.
Because one of these shows there were no weddings resulting.
Wow, close to no. There was definitely no weddings. Engagement.
Oh yeah, there was an engagement. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So we'll first start off with.
Temptation Island on Netflix.
On Netflix, indeed.
So, Temptation Island is a format that already exists elsewhere globally because obviously we talked a couple of weeks ago about the viral Montoya Por Favor video.
Yes.
But it is now on Netflix. It was previously on.
It was on E, and also USA in the USA.
If you're not familiar with Temptation Island, the premise is this. Couples come onto the show. They want to test their partner's loyalty. The show then splits them up, women in one house, men in the other. They bring in singles to tempt them. And essentially the show is, will your partner not cheat on you? Bear in mind that, I don't know. I've never been a cheat.
The silence is definitely.
I have never been a cheat.
Yeah.
Have I been unwittingly wrapped into a cheating? Potentially. Mm. But I've never cheated on I've never been in a relationship where I've cheated on someone. Mm-hmm. But I would like to think that, even if I was a serial cheat, whatever I was, I would be smart enough to not cheat on you on the show that has been set up to cheat.
Especially when you're being filmed 24/7 and they will take snippets of it to show your partner.
So, I watched this. Shoshana had already watched it. I watched this in one day. And coming into it, I was like, I wonder, I was not prepared for the level of, honestly, demonic behaviour that I saw. That's the only way I can describe it. Because we've talked about how the ultimatum is basically a foolish format in terms of it is encouraging you to wreck your relationship, right? 100%. And also if you're going on something like the ultimatum, your time's up already. Yeah. Going on Temptation Island, you are going on Temptation Island because you think your partner is a cheat. Yeah. And then they cheat. And then you get cheated on national TV. I don't understand why any sober, even-keeled, mentally sound person would go on that show.
Yeah.
And having watched a video, which I'll mention towards the end, having watched a video with some of the girls that were brought on to be the tempters. Yeah. They, according to them, some of the boys were like, we're here to make a TV show. And it felt like, actually, they were like, we need to cheat. So that's what's even crazier. You were in again, I have to assume your relationship was not good, right? To come onto a show like this. But imagine if your relationship was good, which is the case with the couple that get engaged, right?
Alexa and Lino.
Yeah. Their relationship's not bad, but they clearly do have some things they need to work through. I don't think they were ready for a show that was quite literally trying to get them to cheat on their partners. 100%. And my jaw was agape the whole time because some of the stuff I saw, I said, this is not Christian.
No.
And there are people on there espousing their Christianity. I said, this is not from God. This is not of God at all. If this is not of the devil, I don't know what is.
It's a wild format that has been around for almost 20 years.
Doing threesomes.
The threesomes. Huh?
Doing sex in the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's not even been 3 days.
That was crazy.
It's cruel as well.
It really is.
It's one thing for you to kiss another person. One thing for you to tell someone I'm catching feelings for them. You took a girl into the bathroom and was doing that's the worst thing is you can't see
but
it.
You know.
Well, you can see a handprint on the glass, which is crazy.
You know.
But you just have to listen to the sounds.
Yeah. The sounds said enough. And actually there was an interview with the producers of the show, and they said that, look, they could have shown more, because mind you, it's Netflix. They could have gone.
There was definitely cameras everywhere.
There was cameras everywhere. Actually, two things. The producer did say they could have gone further in terms of showing stuff, but mind you can hear it enough. You didn't need to. And then the other key thing that they mentioned in that interview is that apparently they had cameras in some of the bathrooms.
Yeah, and not all of them, because in the black guy's one, he didn't have cameras.
Yeah, but they were able to pick up the sound because they sound
like they were wearing a mic pad.
They were wearing a mic pad. They were in the shower, and it sounded like they were going all night long. Because when they finished the threesome, he said it's daytime. It's daytime, which is wild.
He said it's daytime,
and you heard the clapping. Like you heard
and
heard,
like it's just
also someone used closed captions. Also wild. The closed caption description of what was happening tells you enough.
I cannot imagine a universe like this. Is a show that I was able to enjoy because I was like, I could not ever see myself going on a show like this. Like something like Love Is Blind. I'm like, oh yeah, I can imagine. There's a version of me that would go on this show. There's a version of me that would have gone on Love Island, maybe not this version in this lifetime, but Temptation Island, not any lifetime.
No, the format doesn't make sense.
If I think that you're going to cheat on me, I'm just going to break up with you. I'm not going to go on TV and see if you're going to cheat on me.
Yeah, there's no, like, perfectly honest, and this is a comment I'm going to mention about the guys. You are out in the world. There are tons of beautiful women around. You could have easily been tempted anywhere.
And did, obviously.
And they did. A good chunk of them had cheated before they came on the show to begin with. So going on Temptation Island for real really isn't, it's not a badge of honor. It really isn't like, oh, you went on Temptation Island and survived. And why were you on Temptation Island to begin with? Like, none of them made sense. And some of these couples are not like, they were just together for like 6 months. They're like together for 3 years, 6 years, how many years? It's just significant relationships. But there is that. And I think maybe we can talk about the couples
let's blitz through the couples.
Maybe we'll start off with this one last. So the first one was Ashley and Grant.
Grant and Ashley. Yeah. So basically, Grant is the person we were talking about who had sex in the bathroom. I'm not even joking. It's literally episode 2. Yeah. He's talking to this girl all night. They do this thing which, honestly, again, not to out myself, but there's a point where they're talking all night and then it's time for them to go to their separate bedrooms. Yeah. And he's like leaning against the wall and she's leaning against him. And I was like, if these people could not give off more signs that they want to sleep with each other than they are right now. Yeah. It's 2 days in. It's 2 days in. I really need you to understand that man who had cheated before, by the way, and had cheated on his ex, had not even waited 3 days to cheat on his girlfriend. He's already found someone to cheat with. Not only does he cheat with his girlfriend, with this girl, right? So this is night 3, not even night 2 or 3 that they're leaning up against each other. Night 4, he's fully having sex with this woman in the bathroom. When he woke up, he was like, oh, do you know what? I actually really love my girlfriend. I feel like I've made a mistake. I'm not going to talk to that girl again. And at that point, I was like, okay, this is the interesting thing about a show like this and about guys who cheat. What he liked about you was the chase and the potential of something. Now that he's got it, he loves his girlfriend and doesn't want to talk to you ever again. Yeah. You're something shameful to him. I don't know why you'd want to put yourself in that position. Like, it was a really interesting show for me in terms of making me think about, like, you know, I'm always like pro women, but some of the women on here, I was like, have better standards for yourself. Like, the girl that Grant cheats on Ashley with, she's like, I just want to, like, I don't care. I don't, like, this is nothing to me. Like, as in, like, I'm on a show, he's hot, he thinks I'm hot, why can't we get together? And I was like, I kind of respect the fact that she's like, it's not that serious. But equally, I'm like, you have also just had sex on national TV more than once with somebody who has a girlfriend. And I understand your reasonings being like, I'm not in a relationship, I can do what I want. But I was just like, is this even like what you want to be known for?
Yeah,
I just couldn't get my head around the people actually having sex.
The temptresses or tempters. I think there's a lot.
Or even the partners. It's like, these people actually having sex.
Yeah. I think that there's probably a lot of things from a production perspective that's happening. I think there's probably a lot of alcohol on set. Maybe we don't see it.
Yeah, I heard there's a lot of alcohol and not enough food.
Yeah. Is that, which has always been an issue with this type of shows. A lot of alcohol, a lot of like no food, so people are getting drunk. There is that expectation. I'm sorry, like, you're in an environment where you are surrounded by a lot of attractive people, and I think, you know, not to colour everyone with the same brush, but a lot of some of the tempters have a background of it being working on OnlyFans, working in that kind of environment,
being on other Netflix shows,
and being on other Netflix shows. So like they know that they're on TV, they know that they have to create a show, and they know that if they do certain things, they will get airtime. And it's not saying that it's not real, but there's something about it. It's very manufactured. You can't you can't escape that at all. So that's how I kind of felt in terms of, especially the contestants that were having sex, and the tempters that were having sex with the guys, particularly. Like, for me, everyone knew what they were doing, but they specifically knew what they were doing, especially with the guys, because all the guys, each one of them are horned up, and they know they all of them are planning to cheat. Every single one of those guys.
Yeah.
Even Lino.
It was really interesting, the divide between the girls' house and the boys' house.
Yeah.
Like, the girls are like, you know, oh my God, I love my partner.
Yeah.
I really hope we make it out of this. And then they would come to the
fire pit.
Yeah, the fire pit, and just watch videos of their partners getting off with other people. And I have to go back to the house. And only Ashley actually was like, okay, fuck him. I'm ready. I'm single.
Yeah.
But given what I heard afterwards, they are as bad as each other, really. Yeah. Like, I think she did that because she knew it would bother him, and it did bother him, which was crazy. Him being like, wow, she's like talking to other guys and saying that I'm a piece of shit. It's like, you literally are a piece of shit. Like, it was so, like, the cognitive dissonance between the men watching their partner speak about them and how they were behaving was crazy to me. It's like, you are literally fucking someone in the house talking about, why is she saying I'm a piece of shit though? This is what I mean. This is what I mean. What do you mean this is what I mean? You had already cheated on her.
Yeah. And
now you're going to use it as an excuse for why you're doing it. It's because she wasn't very nice to you. It's like, you had already cheated on her.
And that's why.
And then...
Yeah.
Then the gag is at the end, when they have to make the decision about whether they're going to stay with their partners or leave on their own or leave with someone new, he gets to the fire pit and he's like, bear in mind, he's basically been in a relationship with this girlie. I was come back here to leave with you. You've come back here to leave with who?
That's what I thought.
Come back here to leave with who? I said, oh, he's scary.
Yeah.
That is scary. I don't get it. I feel like that's why I found this show so shocking, because I was like, I actually, in most situations, I can empathise with anyone. Like, even if you're doing something bad, I can, like, work has been done to explain why you would make that decision.
Yeah.
In this, these guys were just like, hi, I'm a piece of shit.
But I still want you and you still want me.
And I still deserve love.
Yeah.
And I still want the best for you. Like, no, you don't. You hate me. You hate me. Because it didn't even take you 5 minutes to cheat on me. Yeah. I don't believe that you want the best for me. Yeah. At that point, I was starting to think, maybe these couples are not real couples. Because I just can't imagine loving somebody. Loving, and then knowing, yeah, I'm going to go next door and bump butts with someone else. And they're going to have to watch this.
I think they're real couples, but they also... They love TV. They love the fame. And as I've worked on some of the on one of the early iterations of Temptation Island when it was at NBC Universal, And I would say that like this type of format is expected. Like everyone knows that they're gonna sleep with people. I would say that probably apart from the threesome and the shower sex scene, that was only the big shocking parts. But previous seasons have been even worse. Like, and I mean like not just on the men's side but on the women's side, which is what makes it nice. Which is why Montoya Por Favor blew up, because it was like it was the man crashing out versus the woman. But I think what is sad, and I do agree with you, that you definitely saw this disconnect or this like very stark contrast between the men and the women, where the men could easily just like have sex with the temptresses so quickly, whereas the women were like very slow to like making connections. They were very loyal. They didn't want to like rock the boat. A lot of it was about emotional connections, and you could really see how the contrast was, because not many women were bumping butts, as you would say.
Yeah.
Or even or even thinking about it. Yeah, because the women's house got really boring to the point where when they brought in that the idea of the tent, where you could go into the private tent and the light will go off in the other house. One of the girls, I think it was Ashley, she went in there. She went in it just to spook the guys and think, oh well, the girls are cheating, so that the guys would probably stop, because they were really going at it with all the other temptresses. Yeah,
which again tracks for her personality, and again tracks for this relationship. Like at one point, Grant says something like, "Oh, we used to go to the bar, and Ashley would want me to flirt with girls to like see if she could like to make her jealous." But then it's always bad when it goes too far, and it's like, what the hell is this? Not a relationship. What the hell is this?
It's like wanting the chase, but then when you are getting chased, when the person chasing someone else, that's a problem. It's a real disconnect as to what the relationship is, or the whole idea of like not being serious. I didn't get that any of the relationships were serious. The fact that Lino and Alexa got engaged, I was shocked, because I was like,
they did feel serious in the sense of like the difference between Lino and Alexa was that like from the beginning they were both like, what our intention is for us to be a better couple, right? Yeah. And that is what we're taking this time to do, and it felt like that's what they were doing. Everybody else, it did feel like they were like, I'm here to check if my husband's going to cheat on me. My boyfriend's going to cheat on me. Yeah. Even though he's explained that he has forms. How much evidence do you need to be shown that your partner's a cheat if they cheat on you?
Don't go and tell Shantae whatever.
How much evidence do you need to be shown? The evidence you already knew it before you came on the show. What do you need the show for? To just make yourself look like a dickhead, because that's what you look like. You look like a dickhead. You don't look. I'm not rooting for you. I don't feel empathetic. I don't feel sympathetic. I just feel like, oh, you're never gonna leave this man.
No, and the annoying thing, going back to Ashley before we probably go into Alexa and Nino, but I was actually really happy with Ashley when she was like, I'm not gonna say yes at the end. I'm not gonna date this guy. I'm gonna go and
date Danny.
Was like, yeah, because she during the process she had started to build connections with Danny and some other guy, and at one point I was getting worried. It's like, is this gonna be another threesome thing? But she kind of put the other guy to the side, but started to build a connection with Danny, and I actually started to like them together.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, this is finally some get back, because this guy, Grant, had really been playing her the whole experiment. He had been rude to her, disrespected her. He kept on telling all the girls that he was single. But he had really broken up.
After every fire pit, he was like, yeah, this has just confirmed to me that she's not the one for me.
Exactly. So that was great. And then to find out that they dated again after the show.
Well.
Or, yeah.
He left on his own. She left with Danny. She then broke up with Danny. He then started dating the girl that he was talking to on the show.
Oh, really?
And while he was dating that girl, he cheated on her with Ashley. Wow. That's what happened. He is now dating someone else.
Wow.
You know that phrase, you get them how you lose them?
Yeah.
Or you lose them how you got them?
Yeah.
I think between Ashley and Grant, the game was who's going to hurt who more. Yeah. And
you could tell, you could see in their behaviours.
That's why she slept with him again afterwards, or her time with him afterwards. I don't think she likes that man.
No.
I don't think she cares about that man anymore. I think he had a chance, he broke her heart, and she's spending all of the rest of the time just trying to get her lick back.
Yeah.
And did she get her lick back? Who knows? I don't know if that stuff will ever make you feel better, but you have now hurt the girl that he cheated on you with. Yeah. So if that's a consolation, you have that.
Well done.
Lino and Alexa.
Lino and Alexa, I don't have much to say because they came in probably the most secure out of the four couples.
Yeah, talking about like we would like to get married, stuff like that.
Exactly. So it felt like it was very forward thinking, and I think they've been together for like 3 years or so. They met in the gym, and it was a very cute meet cute, if I could say that. The only thing I have about the Lino and Alexa thing, both of them decided not to really explore any romantic relationships. There's a lot of friendships. Like I loved Alexa's relationship, like friendship with that other guy right at the end, and there was a lot of just advice that you would get. Even though I think it was wild when Lino decided at the end that he was going to propose to Alexa, he brought one of the temptresses to come and pick rings. I was like, this is weird, but do you? And Netflix is paying for this, so all well and good. But my thing was, Lino, look, I think he tried to make some connections with some of the temptresses, and they weren't really feeling him like that. And I think had they been interested in him, I think he would have cheated.
I think it would have, I think it definitely would have been a different story. I don't know if he would have gone all the way, but I definitely think he would have been like, I don't know what to do now because there's so many hot women who are after me. And it was like, yeah, you're right. There were not, he did have Maya, and then they had that really weird conversation where he was spending all his time talking to Maya about his relationship problems, and then it was time to pick someone to go on a date with, and he picked someone else. I want to say her name was Alex as well, but a person who he had very little to chemistry with, but he kind of could tell because she was leading with this that she was like maybe easy. And he thought, okay, she's down to clown. I can probably get her to flirt with me. And actually, it turned out, I don't think she was attracted to Lino. No. I think she was more attracted to the person that she ended up having a threesome with. Yeah. But because she didn't make a move on him, he was then like, oh, okay, well, that's that, I guess. Yeah. And then also had cut things off with Maya and wanted her to go home. It was that thing was all really confusing, but some context after the show, I watched a quote unquote reunion with
Nick Vial.
No, it was Jessie Wu on YouTube, and she had basically all the black girls.
Oh, nice.
And Maya was saying that she knew she was going, and just hammed that thing up because she wanted the airtime and she knew that's what the producers wanted. So there was, from that reunion, there was a lot of emphasis on production and how they were being produced and how they were being encouraged to do stuff. But Lino didn't really have any romantic connections. Alexa didn't have any romantic connections, but I think more so because she was focused on Lino. Yeah. And at the end, he proposed to her. Yeah,
and it was it was sweet, but then when you know the premise of the show, you're just like, out of all the shows you could be engaged at the end, this was it. Yeah, I agree with you. I really felt like, perfectly honest, Alexa and Lino applied for the ultimatum and didn't get it.
Yeah, maybe. That would be a much better fit.
It just felt like, it really felt like it was giving the ultimatum vibes with them. But I also think that's what the premise of the show was. The problem was, all the other guys were like, I'm here to cheat, let's cheat away. And there was no stakes, there was no pressure because they knew what they were coming to do. Yeah. So the minute they saw all those 10 girls remove their robes, they're like, let's just move on to Tyler and Taylor, which I think is if they were a couple, that'd be just the funniest.
They were a couple.
I mean, they were a couple. Funniest name pairing.
So I probably have the most, not the most. I have thoughts about these two the most in the sense that so their situation was Tyler was married before. He then met Taylor and they started dating. They've been in a relationship for 2 years. In that time, he decided he didn't want to work in his corporate job anymore and quit his job to become a model. In that time, he was not working. Taylor's now become the main breadwinner. He lives in her house. She pays all the bills. He's just in there, right? No. That's what I would like. Just immediately.
The whole story doesn't make sense.
Immediately, no. Anyway, they come on the show now. And she is immediately rude to the temptresses on when they first meet them, just being like, I know which one you like, it's the blonde, that's who you're gonna go through, her hair's fake, blah blah, lashing out. She's lashing out. Honestly, to me, it just read lashing out because she was scared.
Yeah.
And her partner, who's supposed to reassure her, is just going, why can't we just have a nice moment before you go? He didn't say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I would never disrespectful. He was just like, this is what you always do. Like, you ruin everything. Like, this could be a nice time and you're ruining it. And I was like, oh, okay. He's going to cheat for sure.
100%.
And then they get in there. He immediately forms a connection with the girlie that she said he would. And just honestly starts behaving like they're in a relationship.
Yeah. Before he did that, though, he did something that really ticked me off.
Go on.
And it kind of leans back into what Lino did with Maya. He, at the beginning of Temptation Island, so once the men move into their villa and the women move into their villa, they have to pick someone for a date.
Yeah.
In front of their partners.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to do something to surprise her. And he picks Courtney.
Yeah.
Who is one of the black girlies, stunning.
Yeah, she is.
And it ticks me off because they had a date, no connection. Courtney wasn't feeling it, he wasn't either. But it ticks me off because I felt like he was doing that whole like I'm gonna surprise Taylor
100%.
by picking someone black, and that's to me left a really sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
I was like, you're purposely using our good black six. I mean, I don't know if she's good because she has fun later on. So, but you're using her being black and that being so far away from your type to try and throw her off when you knew, perfectly honest, the girl Taylor was right. You were gonna cheat on the blonde girl, which you did, and that was it. You didn't have to bring Courtney into it because it wouldn't have changed anything. And then the same thing with Maya, with Lino. Again, Maya's a person of color was black. I don't. Is she black?
Yeah, she's black.
That you're leading her on not even leading her on, like using her like the advice column or like can you give me like I can eat which is what we usually see. These are the prototypes that we see of black female contestants. You
become the black best friend.
Exactly, and like perfectly honest, you could write a whole thesis.
Emotional support dog.
Exactly, a whole thesis of so many prototypes that you see, and we saw both of those being brought out to life in literally the same episode or between two episodes.
Yeah.
And that is what annoyed me. I didn't have time for Taylor, the two of them. The fact that his scrounging off her, it was one thing, but also the fact that like he had separated from his ex-wife. 4 months later, he was still in the separation and he's still very much married. That's when he met Taylor.
Yeah. And
so really, you get him as you get him. Like you lose him as you get him. Like I think there was the rumors that there may have been some cheatation going on.
What cheatation? I don't know what
cheating. Don't make it spicy. But there could have been some cheating going on during the marriage or towards the end of the marriage. So it just felt like there was so much overlap. And also it's very clear, and we probably can talk about it later on in the episodes, but it's very clear that Tyler loves to be in a relationship. Or he loves to scrounge off women because he has not been single in how many years? Yeah,
he loves to scrounge off women. I think he literally had got to a point where Taylor was like, I resent the fact that you're scrounging off me. And he came on the show and said, I'll find a new girl to do it with. Yeah. Because him and that new girlie, you would think they're impact. You literally, what was it? They were in a honeymoon phase down. Yeah. Like, you're not even listening to the fact that, like, this man has no job. Yeah. Where will he live? Yeah. Where will you live? You? Like, you are, she was quite young as well. And it's like, the two of you are not thinking with your brains right now. And I think you're swept up in like, because she was coming in there with like, he's the person I want and I'm not leaving till I get him. And then he was like, she's the first person I saw and I really connected with them. And they both felt like were putting out the story that they had ended up with the person that they wanted. And it's like, you don't know who that man is.
No.
And you don't know who she is. Like, both of you, I don't see it. No. But one of the things I wanted to mention was like, there was a moment with Taylor and the host at at one of the fire pits where she basically is like, I'm not surprised. Why would I be surprised? This always happens to me. Like, I'm never enough for anyone. Like, everyone I love leaves me. And they have this really, really vulnerable conversation in which I genuinely felt for her. Like, say what you will about her. She's like, she does call him a bitch, all of this stuff. Like, low-key, I recognise a lot of that behaviour as someone who has been abandoned and now feels very self-sufficient. And when they don't see that in other people, honestly, it disgusts them. And I think that like that relationship was on its way out anyway, because there would have been a lot of resentment, but it would never have come from her breaking up with him, because she lacks that. She needs the validation.
Yeah.
And I think the host says something to her. She was like, I'm completely broken. He's like, no, this moment has broken your heart, but you're not broken. And like, obviously that sounds really cliche, but he really does speak life into her in that moment. And like his advice, and I feel like his advice at every five pit for the girls at least was like, this is this is the making of you. This is not the breaking of you. Like, this man ain't it, sis. No. Like, he really was telling the girlies like, and now we're gonna break up. Like, he was as much as you could coast up. Like, at one point I was like, is he supposed to be just basically telling them all to break up? Because that was his energy. He was like, fuck that guy, 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 fuck that guy. And even for the guys, he was like, break up with her. I feel like you don't like her, break up with her.
One thing about the host, his name is Mark Wahlberg.
Yes, his name is Mark Wahlberg.
Mark L. Wahlberg. He has
really
L,
weird.
Which is great. And that was a really fun thing when we were marketing it, because he's like, look, he's the best Mark Wahlberg.
He is the best Mark Wahlberg.
One thing, he doesn't have like a like a psychology degree. He's not a psychologist.
What is his job?
He's a host, and they roll him out. They have rolled him out for the past 20 years.
He
to do
is
the show.
real.
He's real. Even now, he's in his 60s, and when I first saw him, I was like, oh, they brought the same host back. I was getting a bit worried, because I thought, he's a bit older now. Like, could it be creepy that he's there and, all these like young women? But actually, he definitely took on a more of like I'm going to say dad.
Yeah, it was very fatherly.
Fatherly role. Like, even with like that scene with Taylor, where he really like empowered her in that moment. And then the next day, one of the guys that left, because the guy Close, he self-eliminated. He came back because Close at that time, his only connection was with Taylor. Anyway, he returned, and when he returned, like the host again brought Taylor to the side and was like, "Look, again."
What you said to me last night really touched me. He said it really stuck with me, and I really want you to, sorry. One of the other things he said that night as well, which stuck with me, was she was like, "This always happens to me. This always happens to me," and then he says, you get to write your story. You get to choose what your story is. And like right now you're saying, yeah, I'm deciding that the things that make up my life are the people that abandon me, but it doesn't have to be that. Like, you could argue like this is all inspirational poster quotes, but like honestly in the moment watching it, I was like, literally preach.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that need to hear this. There's a
100%.
lot of people that are Taylor right now being like, all I need in my life to fix all of the abandonment issues I've had to this point is for someone to choose me. And actually that's not going to answer your problems. You actually have to make peace with the stuff that's happened to you. If you don't make peace with that stuff, you don't have no space for no one else.
Very true.
Because you can't ask this bum to fix that problem. This man, but he was never gonna.
No, he didn't have the capacity to either. Like,
all you've done is pick someone to actually reinforce that storyline in your head. Nobody wants me. Nobody thinks I'm enough. No one cares about me.
Yeah.
So he really, really is like campaigning for every one of those women to like find their voice and like make good decisions. And he doesn't literally say break up with your boyfriend, but he's like, look at the evidence. And look at how you feel right now. Like right now you feel like shit. Is this what you want?
Yeah, that to me should have been a warning sign to her, like, go run. But and actually I think she really took that on. Like, she did. She 100%
heard what he said and was like, no one's ever basically put it to me that I have any control in this situation. And I think that's the thing with being like abandoned, or you get into that victim mentality of like, stuff happens to me, things happen to me, bad things happen to me, nothing good ever happens to me, and you lose all agency over the fact that like, okay, but all the good things in your life you made happen. So you do have the power to bring good into your life. And if you meet someone and they turn out to be a bum, that's not your fault, by the way.
Yeah.
It's on them, and you can part ways without it being like, see, you fucked up, you're not good at this because your parents, like, no, it's not that. I met a person, I thought he was a chill dude. He opened his mouth to that he was the devil. What was I supposed to do?
Yeah.
The devil famously is a liar. Like, he's not going to come up to you and be like, hey, it's me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So, I mean, I was actually really proud of her story. She did end up meeting a guy called Yemen.
Yeah.
And at one point I definitely thought, oh, this could be a thing. It seemed very attractive. And again, going back to what I mentioned about the women taking things a lot slower, like you could really see like a slow growth in their relationship. So when I think they made out like on the final day in the middle of the ocean or something.
Yeah, it's so very romantic.
It really was, and I was like, I actually am buying this. And also by this point, I very much believed when she said she's single, she's single.
Yeah.
And like, there's no going back. So I really liked her story at the end. I felt like
she doesn't get back with Tyler.
No,
he then tells her he's leaving with the girlie that he met.
Yeah,
to have the audacity to sit across from someone and be like, I want you to know that I love you.
Oh, no, she was like, no. Please.
Yeah, she let him have it, as she should have. Yeah. I thought he was really slimy, actually. He very much, I felt, he's more dangerous than Grant, because Grant's whole thing was like, oh no.
Yeah.
I'm so silly. I met a hot girl and I fucked her. What can I say?
Yeah.
Whereas Tyler was like, you drove me to this.
Yeah. And that's also crazy.
You called me a bitch, so that means that I had to sleep with someone else. Like, no, it doesn't. Please take responsibility for your actions sometimes. You wanted to sleep with her, and that's okay.
It's fine. You didn't even just sleep with her. You had a relationship.
Yeah, so don't put it on me that because I said she was a bitch, because she was already on the road to doing that.
Yeah. So I was really happy with her story, and again, her story and her journey really highlighted the importance of that host.
Yeah.
Like, you need to have a good host.
Yeah,
really
he was a great host.
He was
probably the best of any of the hosts on those kind of shows, for sure.
100%. And like, if they come back for series 2, which I'm sure they may, they've not said it, but I imagine
they have to.
Yeah, they're gonna wheel him back in.
They have to.
The thing is, the producers say, and in that interview that I read with, I think it was with him or also some of the producers, that one, he doesn't see the clips at the fire pit before the girls or the guys.
He's watching it with them.
He's watching it with them. So everything he's saying is really much on the fly. He's not being told what to say. The advice he's giving, again, is not the producers. They just let him take the space and say what he needs to do to kind of help / guide the contestants. And he's like, you can tell he wants healthy relationships. I think he's been married for like 40 years or whatever. Like, it is a very wholesome host.
Yeah,
and there's nothing problematic about it. And I mean, we can talk about a few things at the end about just the overall series, but like, he's definitely was a shining point. Like, I was thinking, like, you kind of need this in. If you had a messy host and a messy show format, it's just gonna be wild.
Yeah, he grounds 100%.
it. Whereas
he makes it about something real.
Yeah. Whereas, like, I mean, we've seen it with Love is Blind, and we've seen it with Love is Blind US. I think Love is Blind UK kind of benefited from having a relatively grounded host that helped to kind of keep the story moving.
I don't remember them.
Emma and Matt.
Yeah, did they do anything then?
I know, but I think they did well in the reunion. I don't remember. I watched this Love is Blind Sweden, and the host, I thought, was really good. She asked really good questions, and there's only one person. Like, you can have you don't need too many.
How can you possibly learn about marriage if it's not the couple?
Whereas you don't miss it. She's really good, so I'm like, we don't really need it. But yeah, you need a grounded host to really support like some of these extremely wild formats.
Yeah, especially I think that is why we've talked about this before. Like, the idea that Love is Blind happens and they don't have couples counselling. Ultimatum doesn't have any couples counselling. It's just people just doing wild shit. Makes the whole thing leave with like, you're coming out of this having learned nothing as well, which is not very helpful.
The last but not least in terms of the couples, and I had to keep them last because the thoughts I have was Shantae and Brion. They are African American. I would just say that they are a black couple. They met in church.
Of course they did.
I'm not gonna lie, when they were talking about their story, I was like, wow. They met in church. They, I think they've been together for less than a year by that point, and they can definitely see marriage. I think she said that he may have cheated on her already, but before.
Yeah, maybe. At the very least,
yeah,
he's either fucked all of his friends or fucked a friend while they were together. Yeah. Either way, one of her fears is whenever he says he's going out to see his friends, is he sleeping with that friend?
Yeah. And also, all he wants to do is have threesomes.
And he's very adventurous sexually, and she doesn't want to do anything adventurous. Yeah.
So that's how they positioned them as a couple. I'm gonna say, like, throughout the course of the show, if you know, you know, Brienne has a threesome with Courtney and I can't remember the other.
I think her name's Alex.
Yeah, basically the girl that Lena wants to. Yeah. And when that happened, and seeing on the flip side, like, Shantae didn't really engage with any of the guys. She was, I was going to describe her quite pious. Like, she was just very in herself. Very
a little bit sanctimonious, to be honest.
Yeah, just very much like, I just want to, I'm just here for Brienne. Like, I know we're going to be together.
Delulu.
Yeah, and like, just very much my man. And I felt sorry for all the other guys who were trying to get to know her, because there were quite a few. And she was just like, no. But then on the flip side, Brienne has a threesome, and as soon as he finishes, he says, I don't regret it, and she's still going to take me back.
Yeah. And she does.
And she does.
And she does. Bear in mind, this girl was crying when the lights flashed in the house. You don't even know if it's your man.
Yeah.
She is sobbing her heart out, going, I feel like it's Brienne. I hope it's not Brienne. It's probably Brienne. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. When she finally sees that he cheated on her, you know, I think we need to talk. You hear cheeks clapping and you're talking about we need to talk. What's to talk about?
Honestly, everyone's like, she's like, I think we need to discuss more. What is the discussion?
Like, you can see the other girls being like, I think that maybe you should just leave it.
The connection, even the guy, you know, given the format of the show, you have to keep on picking partners from the tempters or temptresses.
Yeah, people to go on dates with.
To go on dates with. So even the guys that you would go on dates with as friends are advising you, please be sensible. Because she kept going, we still need to have a conversation. Me and Brielle need to talk about this. And all the guys were like, I hope that she makes the right decision. I have faith in her. I support her. She
kept saying, as long as if he says that he understands like he did something wrong, then you know it'll be fine. It's like, I don't understand what you consider to be boundaries in your relationship, because most people would consider the act of sleeping with two other women without my consent, behind my back, as cheating and as breaking a boundary. Yeah. She said no. The thing for me that will be breaking the boundaries if he says that he doesn't understand that he broke a boundary. Yeah. What are you talking about?
This is when I get nervous. Because again, going back to the fact, like, we've met in church, like, I see this as the man I'm going to be married to. It reminds me of, or not reminds me of, but is the fear of like, oh, now I've met my person and we go to church together and we're a couple, that we can't break up.
You don't go to church together, sweetheart, because he's doing threesomes. When you're at church, he's doing a threesome. Just because you met someone at church does not mean that your faith matches in any way, shape, or form. That man has said, I'm sexually adventurous. I want to be doing threesomes, foursomes, fivesomes, sixsomes. And you are saying, I want to have sex once a week.
There's a disconnect. Anyone and everyone can see that. And also, like, I remember hearing someone say this, that, I think it was like Nikki Starr, the YouTuber. She was saying that, if Shantae and Brienne stay together, she'll marry him and he will become a preacher and do kind of a redemption story of, I used to sin and have threesomes, but she took me back. And that will be also her story. Like, forgiveness is about forgiveness. Again, it's not wrong to forgive someone, but this guy has shown you who he is on multiple occasions, and he embarrassed you on national TV.
Even the way that he talked about her, she's a good woman, she cooks, she cleans. Like, this man has not said, you're sexy, I find her attractive, she's gorgeous, she's funny, I love spending time with her. He said, you are wifey material in the traditional sense, and I don't want to give that up. But in terms of a partner, you don't satisfy me.
Yeah.
And you've also heard that, and you've said,
Bet.
okay,
Yeah.
I would like you to stop cheating on me though, if you can.
Which I think is just crazy. And that fire pit, the final one, I was so excited because I was like, she's going to let him have it. She's going to let him have it. This is where I was confused. Because she starts talking about how he's hurt her, how she expected better. You know, even the host, Mark, is there, you know, helping her. Like, okay, just say how you feel. Because, you know, she was emotional, teary-eyed. Then she goes and asks for some time out. She goes and, you know, takes a break for about 5 minutes, whatever, and collects her thoughts. She comes back and she's ready to say, I'm going back. I'm going alone. I'm leaving you. My guy starts begging. Please, please, please.
He literally does. He spends the entire thing being like, I don't even give a fuck really. I don't give a fuck about it. Like, whether she stays or she doesn't. I'm really thinking now, I can find someone who's godly and also likes to fuck. That's what I'm looking for. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Then, I want to say 2 episodes from the end, his luck runs out, basically. After the threesome, and when the news spreads about the threesome, I feel like the other women in the house kind of took a step back from him. And he has this thing with Amaya. Well, he says it's a thing with Amaya. He tells her, I want to write a note to Shantae. Will you help me write the note? And she's like, okay. So they're in his bedroom. She's got a pen and paper in front of her. And he's like, starts going into detail about like, yeah, you know, I had a threesome and like, it was good. But now that I've got it out of my system, I guess now I know I really want to be with Shantae. And Amaya's like, I don't feel comfortable with this conversation, so maybe we can go downstairs, or maybe we shouldn't have it. And he's like, oh my God, I'm trying to pull my heart out to you, and you are making it about you. This is so annoying. She's like, well, actually, you're making it about you. Like, you've cheated on your girlfriend, and your response is, now that I've got that out my system, I'm ready to be a good partner to you. Which is not you saying sorry, by the way. Yeah. It's just you going, I got to do what I wanted to do.
Let's get back together.
And then he becomes, honestly, quite unpleasant to Amaya. Being like, oh, you're weird anywhere you go. Like, I'm here trying to pull my heart out and you're just trying to make it into something else. It's like, she's literally actually trying to make it into reality. Because you live in a cow cuckoo land where what you've done is not bad.
Yeah, because, again, for someone who says, I don't regret what I did and she's going to take me back anyway, he doesn't care. He is so oblivious to the situation.
He doesn't care. He doesn't speak to any of the women that he did the threesome with again. No. Much like with Grant at the beginning, like I mentioned. Once I get what I want, I don't want you anymore.
Well, as soon as they were given the opportunity to cut women out, he cut both of those women out.
He said, get out.
Yeah.
Get out. Yeah. And then here you are, Shantae, being like, well, because he sent those girls away, he must really love me. Life is not like... No. This is... We were talking briefly before we started the pod about the way that Christianity sets women up for marriage sometimes. And I feel like Shantae is on that journey of like, the Bible requires me to be subservient and to be doting and to be submissive and also to just be accepting.
Yeah.
And I cannot say, this is a boundary of mine that you crossed. Yeah. I'm not going to have that. Yeah. I need to pray and learn to find the will to accept the fact that my husband wants to screw around. Meanwhile, he doesn't have to pray or find any will. He knows he's not going to get a woman as good as you because he's garbage. And instead, he's going to double down on making you feel guilty for leaving him. And that's what he does. He basically wears her down. But she was going to be worn down anyway because she did not, like you were saying, want to leave this place without a boyfriend and have to start this whole process again.
Exactly. I know it's tough out there, but would you prefer to be disgraced and humiliated?
Apparently, yes.
Because that's what it was.
She's still with him.
Well, that was the news. Recently, she's broken up with him. She said that they decided to split amicably for now.
So she's going to get back with him again?
Yeah. So I'm going to try and find the message that she put on social media. Because also, there's 2 other things I wanted to mention about Breon. towards the end, especially after some of the ladies stepped back, which I'm gonna have to praise those women, because those women were the only voice. Amaya was the only voice of reason that was like putting him in his place. She put him in his place more
Angel
than
as well.
An Angel. They did more work than Shantae did. They told her like, I can't go on a date with you because you embarrassed your girlfriend. Like, I can't go on a date with you.
I don't want to spend time with you when you're being disrespectful.
Yeah.
How are you calling yourself a Christian man and talking about wanting to have threesomes?
Yeah.
Not with your partner, by the way.
Yeah. So that was one of the things where I was like, okay, I really respected those women, the temptresses, and that's why I understand why you have some of them there. Like there's always going to be a spectrum when it comes to those contestants. Some are definitely going to be there to have sex and tempt the male contestants or the female contestants. But there's some that's going to be there to be friends and to give advice. And I think that was a nice balance, and you needed it, especially with Brion in particular. The one thing I didn't particularly like is, he's talking about his background, his upbringing, and, again, Mark being the psychologist, the father of the group, was trying to kind of dig deep, going like, what happened to your life? What caused all of this? And it sounded like Brion had a really tough childhood. And I think he was a foster, and there was abuse, I think. So he's gone through it, but there's times when I felt he was trying to justify his behaviour because of it.
100%.
Which, again, it's very difficult. Like that kind of upbringing, it's traumatic.
Textbook manipulation. But that's the thing, It's not traumatic. It's textbook. No, obviously abuse is traumatic. Yeah. But the way that he weaponized that was textbook manipulation. Yeah. You're mad at me? Well, I guess I'm just trying my best. I'm trying my best. I never had the role models you had. As you know, I grew up in foster care. Yeah. Like, it is manipulative because at the end of the day, and I feel like a lot of people don't feel comfortable saying this because maybe they've not been through that level of trauma. They never want to speak on it to someone else. But the fact of the matter is, we all have been through shit. We all have been through shit. You make a decision how you want to process that thing, right? You cannot go through life doing evil to other people because evil was done to you and think that's okay. Yeah. You can't. What has that girl done to you? That means that she deserves... If you dealt with whatever your issues were, you wouldn't be out here doing bad stuff to people that don't deserve it. There is nothing that this girl has done to warrant that energy towards her. You have to take some time by yourself and figure out, am I going to be able to get over this thing? Because I'm never going to be happy while I'm carrying this around with me. Yeah. He will never be happy because he will meet several more Shantaes and treat them exactly the same because deep down, he doesn't think he's shit, so he doesn't feel like he needs to be shit. And if they ever push back on him, he'll be like, well,
Yeah, and that's the problem. And even when he's pleading and he's begging, he kept on going, I've had a really bad childhood. I'm like, again, doesn't justify the behaviour.
No, it doesn't. At all. I genuinely felt for him. It sounded really, really tough. At the end of the day, don't date. Yeah. Don't date.
Go to therapy then and sort yourself. I'm not saying that therapy is the solution for everything, but like
for most things, it is a step in the right direction.
Work through this and take the steps that you need to work through it.
You're not even trying.
No, but for you, the solution is threesomes. Again, disconnect. Anyway, a couple of days ago, Shantae put on her stories. After much thought and reflection, Brion and I have decided to part ways for now. There's no bad blood, just two people recognizing that we need time and space to process this journey. I have so much I want to share with you all, and I hope you'll continue to support and encourage me as I step into this next chapter. I wish Brion nothing but the best, and I hope we're both able to grow from this experience. As I move forward, I'm excited to share more of myself with you all. Let's keep pushing forward together. That was her message.
I think her family and her friends watched the show and they said, don't be fucking... Yeah. You have to be joking. Yeah. You absolutely have to be taking the piss if you think you're going to stay with this guy.
Mind you, it's only been, a month or so since the show went out and that's happened.
Yeah, there's no way it's not been influenced by that
100%,
because you came out of you knew when you came out of it and you said I'm gonna stay with you anyway. You've seen most of the stuff that was said about you and you said I'm gonna stay with you anyway. The show, like you said, aired a month ago. If it was based on what you had viewed, you would have been done a month ago.
like over a year ago, I think that
it is the response of your family and friends and the people that you care about saying no,
be for real, girl.
no.
So that happened. I'm very happy, but again, it gives me it's reminiscent of Ashley and Tyler from Love Is Blind, series 7, 6 or whatever, where she's stuck by her man, and then the backlash happened, and a couple months later they were donezo. I need these girls to stand up.
Well, the backlash happened and she decided to double down.
Yeah.
And then when everything had quieted down and she realised she was going to be stuck with that man, all of a sudden,
my
we need to uncouple.
Yeah.
We've decided to consciously uncouple. I mean, it's so difficult because I feel like there are decisions that they need to make as people in relationships, and then they're making decisions also as stars of a TV show. Yeah. And what's going to bring more attention to us breaking up beforehand or us breaking up now? Like, I don't know, it's difficult. It's really difficult. But I watched that and I and this was my feeling about the whole show. I really struggled to get into the heads of the people in it, like the women and the men. I honestly was like, Shantae is either so deeply brainwashed, or she knows that she shouldn't stay with him, but she's like, maybe it's better to move her. Like, I can't work out what's going on here.
I just don't feel like it's the latter. I really feel like this is my man. Like,
then why did you bring him on the show?
I know.
If he was going to stick with him anyway, why bring him on the show? Who applied for the show?
I wish they would explain that more, because an ultimatum, they always say, like, you brought me here, you brought me here. Oh, you make it very clear who the ultimatum
has been given.
But I feel like when it comes to Shantae, I think there's a lot of blindness. There's the blindness of, like, this is my man, we've committed, we're going to get married. This is like, this is a Christian marriage. And
but you're talking about blindness, and then on the other breath saying that you don't know which one of his friends he's sleeping with.
Again, blind.
And every time he leaves the house to go see your friend, like, is that a life that you want to live?
Yeah,
I'm going out to see who?
Yeah.
Let me come. And then post the show, he was saying, oh well, so on the reunion that I watched, Courtney was saying that he'd reached out to her.
No.
Post the show, and well, she was like, yeah, I don't know if I feel comfortable talking to you. He's like, oh, it's fine. Shantae reads all my messages. I was like, oh yeah, because that's a healthy situation
that's
for you to have
now.
got into post the show. You are now reading all of his messages. Is that what you want for your life?
When she left the show with him, she was like, we're going to have to work through it. And that's how you want to work through it. To me, it's like, at that point, I would have told her, if you like it, I love it, just don't bring him around me. Like, I just wouldn't feel comfortable. And there is something seriously wrong with you for you to accept this. But there's only so much I can say. There's only so much you can see. You've seen everything. He's shown you who he is. He's talked about you in a disparaging way. You've seen him have a threesome. Like, I don't care. Look, we didn't need the visuals. We know what happened. And I think based on what will happen, I think we even know who... Look, you know what happens. You know it was an all-night affair. And this is probably not the first time.
When he says to them, oh, you guys start, I like to watch.
Yeah,
I was like, that is a season freak.
Yeah,
you can't do nothing about that, 100%. Man.
So yeah, that was all the couples. And that were all the couples.
Yeah. What would you give it out of 10?
It's crazy because I actually, for reality dating, I enjoyed some parts of it. The format is crazy. It's a legacy format. It's something that's always been around. I love Mark as a host. Mm-hmm. I would give it maybe a 5 out of 10.
I would give it a 7. I thought it was suitably dramatic. The last episode with the final dates, I found like I literally skipped through it because it was just kind of weird. Like we already knew so many of them were not forming romantic connections, so it's like, why waste time watching them eat dinner with someone who's like, you need to go in there and tell him that you love him. Like, I don't care about that. But honestly, as a person who hadn't watched the format before and had no expectations, like I didn't have any spoilers and no anything, I was shocked.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really important about reality TV. Actually, I'm going to change mine to 6. Okay. Like, I think in terms of like the fundamental blocks of reality TV and storytelling, like I think you need a shock factor. You need that, oh my gosh, is this actually happening? Is this for real? Like, you need those moments. And we watched some duds of reality TV the last like couple of months, actually probably for the last 6 months, this was relatively strong.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe I feel like I should be really kind to it, because that being said, I'm comparing it to Love is Blind series US, which was one of the worst seasons we've watched. But
Love is Blind US was the worst season.
season 8, sorry, the most recent one.
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, that was really bad.
That was so bad. And then I watched Love is Blind Sweden series 2, which I wasn't planning to. I actually really enjoyed it, and I'm not gonna.
I've started watching it.
Okay, I won't spoil it. So yeah, I give it 6.5. Yeah, I'm ramping it up more. 6.5.
Like 7, 8.
It's 8. No, it's 6.5. I'm gonna give it 6.5 to finish off. One thing I will say is that they need a reunion next time.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do a reunion.
Because also Netflix, you're losing your bag, because in the time when you should have had a reunion, they went to Nick Viall, they went to Jessie Wu.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I'm happy for the YouTube content creators, but Netflix, you should have. And also Netflix, Mark is a good host. You don't have to worry about that. You're going to get a good reunion. You know he's going to ask the right questions, and it generated so much conversation, especially after Montoya Por Favor. Like, there's so much like buzz around this format. You missed an opportunity. So I think for series 2, hopefully they would bring one. They haven't talked about if there would be a season 2, but I think
I was even surprised that they couldn't just like pull one together.
Yeah.
Like, given how popular the show was becoming and the tweets and whatever, that you wouldn't just
get it done.
Cobble one together.
I think maybe it's I think maybe it was a production thing. But that being said, I've seen them ramp up quickly. They should be able to ramp up something quickly, but maybe it's the whole purpose of like them getting the production done, filming, getting everything localized. You need like 6 weeks of a really good reunion. And I know there's a couple of shows that are able to turn it around very, very quickly. But I think they were surprised with the success of this. And other formats like Too Hot to Handle doesn't really have reunions. And I think that's in a similar vein. So maybe that's why they put it in the back burner.
Think about it, yeah.
But I would happily watch Temptation Island Series 2 over Too Hot to Handle. I think they've got a good format. And All right. So our next review is the long-awaited White Lotus Series 3. We are back now in Thailand. Again, the series continues to be written and directed by Mike White. And we meet a whole bunch of different guests. And I probably will just split them into the key groups. Firstly, the family, which is the Ratcliffe family.
Okay, the Ratcliffes are here to basically, there are rich family that we are poking fun at. They get here, the mom is immediately over it. She has to take drugs, lorazepam, to get through the day, right? The dad finds out about his financial issues and steals her lorazepam. So for the rest of the holiday, she's just unable to switch off and like tune out, which is how she deals with her life as is. At one point, he asked her, what would you do if we lost all our money? And she said, I don't have the stomach for being poor. Like, I would just fall apart. And thematically, what we're exploring with that family is this idea of like, once you earn a certain amount of money, once you're used to a certain lifestyle, can you go back to anything else? His kids don't know any better, right? Piper, even though she's here presenting herself as like, I'm going to be different from my family. I'm going to give up my money. I'm going to join a monastery. Immediately spends one night in the monastery and it's like, oh, I kind of miss central heating and a nice bed and like good food. Like, it falls apart immediately. She makes such a big deal of like telling Lucky, help me, like tell mum and dad, like I need you to be there. Like I'm really scared of telling them that I want to stay here, just for her mum to say, okay, spend one night there and then see how you feel. And she spent one night there and she was like, yeah, I don't want to be there. The other brother, Patrick, I don't know why I don't know Patrick Schwarzenegger's name in the show. I'm going to call him Patrick. Patrick, his whole thing is that he's presenting as this alpha male, right? They've come on this holiday. He's like, I'm here to hook up with bitches and get a tan, and doesn't hook up with the single bitch and doesn't get a tan. The only person he hooks up with is his brother. That is the gag of that storyline.
Saxon is his name.
Saxon gets jerked off by his brother on a night out. Okay, I thought what I did think was interesting about that part of the storyline was when they offered him the drugs and he says, I don't do that stuff. I thought was interesting, because you would think if you're this like finance bro, you're that guy, he probably does drugs all the time, but he's actually quite straight edge, I guess. And what we learn when his dad asked him, what would you do if we lost all this? Well, his dad doesn't ask him. His dad's just acting weird because he's on the lorazepam. Saxon is like, if there's something wrong at work, please tell me, because the work is all I have. You are my intro into that job. If anything's up, it's over for me. He has nothing else going on. And we very quickly learn he doesn't have girls going on. He doesn't have drugs going on. He doesn't have a life beyond his work. And also he got jerked off by his brother. Like, his life is actually pretty bleak.
Yeah.
The whole way through the series as well, sorry. The dad is also trying to figure out how he's going to tell his family. And in fact, he doesn't want to. It's really interesting because people talk so much about how often men will kill their entire families over sharing some bad news. Like, so many family massacres are the dad got laid off and didn't want to tell his family that they didn't have any money, so he just killed them all. So I think it's interesting that they explore that with the dad being like, the options are A, hand yourself in. B, tell your family what's going on, have one last holiday and hand yourself in. C, kill your family. Yeah. Most normal people wouldn't go kill your family, but in his head, he's like, I can't tell them. I can't do it. I can't live with the shame. I couldn't live with the guilt. Neither could they, apparently. So it would be best for me to kill them all. And he decides to create a poison because there's a poison tree at the retreat, which someone tweeted, like, why would you have a tree that grows poison berries at a retreat?
Well, it was the seed, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they also said the fruit doesn't taste nice. So it's like,
yeah, true,
this is here for plot reasons.
Yeah.
Anyway, the dad decides to make pina coladas, gives it to everyone, but Lucky, he does not know Lucky's jerked off his brother, but he asks him, what would you do if we ran out of money? And he's like, to be honest, I think I'd be fine. Like, I'd be good. I don't need this stuff. So he makes the pina coladas, but then he changes his mind about poisoning his entire family. The next day, Lucky goes to make himself a smoothie. He doesn't wash the blender. He drinks it. He gets poisoned. We're like, oh shit. Poetic justice.
Yeah.
In the only person that he meant to not kill was the one that he's ended up killing. However, Lucky survives. He goes in this sort of weird dream trance thing where he's underwater and there's a bunch of monks on the other side of the water and he's looking up at them, and then he dies and then he comes back to life. And the family then leave together. And on the boat, they all get their phones back. Oh, forgot to mention, they took everyone's phones, which is very helpful because the dad doesn't want to tell them what's happened.
Yeah.
On the boat, they go back home, and the dad says, by the way, things are going to change, but we're going to survive it. Thumbs up, everyone. We don't get to see him actually telling his family what's happened. We also don't get to see their reactions, which would have been very interesting. But we are left with this thing of, like, he at least feels more hopeful. I guess he's seen what the reality is. Watch your son die in your arms because you're just too scared to tell them what you've done. Like, his journey, I guess, over the season is to get over the fear of the shame of admitting that he made a mistake and understanding that they're a family and they'll get through it. Yeah, which is all very nice for Jason Isaacs' character. Lucky's arc is, there's a line that Saxon says to him after the jerking off thing, where he's still trying to hang out with Saxon and Saxon is very much trying to avoid him. But right at the end, before he makes this movie, actually, Saxon says to him, no one's going to teach you how to be, no one's going to make you a man. Yeah. And it feels like across the holiday, there is a lot of conversation about what Lucky should be doing. Oh, you should go to Duke. Oh, no, you should go to, I don't know what the other university is. But, like, his mum is pulling him in one direction, his dad's pulling him in the other. Obviously, his brothers and sisters have been to university already. But they are both miserable people, right? He also says, when the dad asks him, what would you do if all the money went away? And he said, well, you know, I spent my life trying to, no, it's not, it's to Saxon, maybe when he's trying to justify the jerking off, he says, well, I've been raised in a family with narcissists, and all I know is how to please people, which I thought was very funny, because no,
it's disgusting.
That's not what that means.
It's incest, my friend.
But also, I thought that was interesting that he has a self-awareness to know that everyone in his family is a narcissist. And I actually wouldn't have agreed with that until we saw the monastery stay over.
Yeah.
When the sister clearly was so perturbed by the idea that he would come to you, because clearly this was supposed to be her thing, and she didn't want to share it with anyone, especially not him, and that immediately put her in a bad mood. Because up until then, she was like on board with the food and the meditating and sitting by yourself, and as soon as he was like, yeah, I think I might stay here too, she was like,
it's really interesting because throughout the show, she wanted Lucky support with the monastery idea, and he was willing to, again going back to his like
people
personality. Yeah, I'm a people pleaser. That was in line with his character, but I think maybe that support went a bit too far when he was like, oh, I'm gonna come with you too, and I didn't know if he wanted to join to escape. Especially given that
I felt like it was to escape. I don't think it was to support her. I think because it's at the monastery that he remembers that he jerked his brother off, and then he's like, "Oh, if I just stay here for him, I never have to confront what happened." Thing." Yeah,
and I said this to you off air, that when potentially he was dying after after poisoning himself. Two things before I jump into it. Firstly, wash the blender. Wash the blender. Why would you put why would you keep remnants of something else in the blender before you use it? Like, why?
Plot.
I know it's plot, especially given that the father had told you that the milk was bad. The coconut milk was bad in the Queen Colada.
It was just plot. Yeah. Like but there were so many other ways they could have actually plotted that, because obviously he really wanted to taste the pina coladas. The dad said, no, you're 21, you can't have it, right? Before he knocks it out of everyone's hand, you just have a moment where but then he would immediately get... But they all took a sip, That's the
thing, they all took a sip, so I was like, everyone should be dead, yeah. But maybe it was like the concentration wasn't high enough for people to get poisoned, and also he was grounding it up with other ingredients, so... Look, I was trying to do mathematics, like, why is no one dead? Because there was even a point in that show, and everything's not coming back. Even though it was just this morning or this afternoon, there was a moment when Jason Isaacs' character threw all the glasses away, and he was like, "Oh, the coconut milk is bad," and he comes back to the living room, and I actually expected everyone to be dead. I actually thought everyone will be on the ground, like they've had a sip. The sip is been a sip of death, and they're done. And that, of course, it didn't happen. And I was kind of relieved. I was like, it would just be so. It would be so finite and final if they all die in this way, especially given that we know at the beginning there's going to be gunshots. So this is not, I don't think this is the final way that this family is going to end, especially given that we know that there's a gun, and I had to go and Google Chekhov's gun because we talked about it so many times. But that was one point about cleaning the blender. And then the second thing was when he did die at that point when he was going through that kind of dream trance, and we had the impression that it was done. I was kind of like almost not relieved, because that sounds kind of heartless, but I was like, well, at least if Lucky's dead, Saxon never has to really address the idea that his brother jerked him off, because there is so many levels to what was happening for your brother to jerk you off. There was so many themes of potentially disturbed relationship between not just Lucky and Saxon, but also Lucky, Saxon, and the daughter, and I can't remember what her name is. Piper. And I got the impression that things were not as it seemed in terms of their relationship, specifically around Lucky, whether he wants to get with his sister or get with his brother. Something was going to happen, and I wasn't expecting the Saxon one at all. Yeah. Even the way that they shot that scene, it wasn't expected. But then I thought, well, if he's dead, that does not have to be addressed. But I don't think it will ever be addressed, even if Lucky's alive now.
Yeah, that scene, to have that scene in like the midway point of the series was really, really, I guess, hooked us all in.
Yeah.
Because the thing with the White Lotus is like, there's something coming at the beginning of the series, and then you've got to sit through 8 episodes to figure out what that something is. And by then, obviously, you care about these characters, so whatever it is, you're like, you have to go on that journey. And sometimes episodes 2 and 3, you're like, about it. So you kind of need things to be like, oh shit, like constantly. And when that moment happened, I was like, oh, so clearly Saxon is going to kill his family and kill himself, because how are we going to get past this?
Yeah.
And I also did feel like for me from there the series really went up a notch. Like that's when you get Jacqueline sleeping with Valentine. That's when you get Laurie going with his friend and then going to the fight and all, like every like stuff starts happening, and so it's crazy that it ends up the jerking his brother off actually ends up not being something that is like why we end up in at the end of the series. Like we would have still got to the point that we get to by the end of the series because it's all about the dad really and what his journey is than it is about the kids. I really enjoyed Parker Posey's performance as the mom. Like she's almost Jennifer Coolidge levels of like iconic in that role. I love that moment where they're at the party and she's no longer on the lorazepam and she says to that girl, like, you're really pretty. Why are you with him? Is it because he's rich? I know loads of rich people like in Tennessee or wherever they're from who would love you. And she's like, well, I really love him. And she's like, what? And like her, even the way that she speaks to Piper about like the way that she says Buddhist when she's like this is a scam and he's Chinese Buddhist. Like everything that she says is just like her accent is the accent that she chooses to give the mom is crazy. But it's so White Lotus to have someone basically giving that comedic a performance against Jason Isaac's character having a literal a mental breakdown
every episode,
like across from each other, and kind of the same with the like you've got Piper's like holier than thou devout journey across from like Saxon and Lucky like going to a full moon party and then accidentally jerking each other off. Like it almost is like White Lotus has this thing of feeling like 8 shows rolled into one, right? Depending on what people you're with. And I think if we move on to the Friends, like with Jacqueline and is it Kate, did you say? Jacqueline and Kate and Laurie. Every time we cut back to them, I was like, this is a girls trip movie that I really, please let me out. I don't want to be physically, this feels like a personal attack.
Yeah, I think we talked about it, like, there is no one great depiction of a girls trip on TV.
As in, the depictions are great, but the actual trips are not great, is what you mean.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Let's say, like, you don't see a very happy
girls
or
trip.
Successful girls
Actually,
trip.
the film Girls Trip was quite joyous.
It was joyous at the end. Was it at the end?
It was joyous the whole way through, and then they have one little fight towards the end, then they get back together.
Okay, yeah. And also, like, you can't have a girls trip without a fight.
No.
And most girls trips...
You can't have a buddy movie, actually, without a fight.
Yeah, and most girls trips, if it's done well, at the end, you may fight, but you always have a resolution at the end. And I think that's what you saw here. And I would say, to your point around, like, the first couple of episodes, I agree, were relatively slow. But I did find the dynamics with this friendship group, like, probably some of the more interesting parts that kept some of the slower pace of the other storylines. It kept this episode going because I was really keen to get back into how's the Friends doing? What are they up to? Yeah,
I said to Shoshana before we recorded today that, like, I think the reason why the friend group maybe felt the most interesting is they're probably the most relatable to us. Yeah. Like, you know, Rick's situation where he's going to kill the man that killed his dad is like not the situation that we're all in. But actually what it ends up being where it's like he actually meets his father is a situation that I've been in. Yeah. So like, yeah, it becomes relatable at the end, but the whole way through you're like, this is so weird that your mom has told you that there's a guy who lives in Thailand who killed your dad and you have decided to spend your entire life waiting for an opportunity to go shoot that guy. Got it. The Ratcliffe, we was saying up here, I don't imagine I would ever marry a man who would embezzle, but if he did embezzle, that's him.
Yeah.
That's not me. So I would be like, oh no, babe. Well, I'll come visit you in prison.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be in prison.
Like, see you in jail, bitch. Yeah. That's what I would say. And then, obviously, the workers in the hotel are workers in a hotel. I've never worked in a hotel before, but the friends on a girls trip, and clearly friends with very clear tensions at the heart of them from even episode 1. I was like, here we go. Like, you just knew it was going to be juicy. You knew there was no way we were coming out of this trip without there being some kind of fallout or some kind of confrontation. And I feel like it was probably the most well-paced and satisfyingly concluded of the storylines, because it kind of followed the arc of a buddy movie. Oh yeah, the girls are on a trip, you're getting some idea that there's tension, but then they have a really fun night together and they remember why they really like each other, and then one of them makes a decision that ends up upsetting the other, and now we get into that like Jacqueline sleeping with Valentin after she's pushed him onto Laurie, really egging Laurie up. Oh, he likes you, Laurie, you should go after him, Laurie, all of that stuff. Bear in mind, Jacqueline is married, but as Laurie and Kate say, she's never with her husband.
Yeah, because he's also an actor on set.
What's the deal? He hasn't called her once since they've been on holiday. Like, something's off. She sleeps with him, and the next day, Laurie is like, that's crazy. Yeah. And Kate's like, leave it alone. Just leave it. Like, it doesn't matter. Why do you care about this? Leave it alone. And I found that, like, tension thing of, like, no one's going to tell her that she's done some fuckery. I'm not going to be able to let it go, because the fuckery is actually kind of done to me. Like, as much as he's not my man, why did you bring me into it? Like, you could have just slept with him and we could have all kept it pushing. We actually could have all just been happy for you that you hooked up with someone. Instead, you made it into a thing of, oh, he really likes you, he really likes you. Now here I am starting to get my hopes up, thinking I'm going to get with this dude, then you've gone and slept with him. Yeah. And then on top of that, you're being like, what's the big deal? Yeah. And then Kate's also kind of supporting you and being like, you're Laurie, why do you care about this? And that is like the beginning of like, okay, the fight has been brewing all trip, and because there has been a fight brewing all trip. Like, you know, they each, as Shoshana was saying earlier, have their little things that the others are like whispering about in the background. And there's one point where Jacqueline actually sees Laurie and Kate, talking about her, and I wonder if that's like where she decided, like, okay, I'm gonna fuck Valentin. Like, I need to show you guys that, like, I am the head dog. Like, I'm the big dog here.
But it's ironic, like, in each of the dynamics, each person saw the other two speaking about them. In every single one. I mean, maybe apart from Laurie didn't maybe hear.
Oh yeah, she was talk.
She was drunk. She knocked on the door, and then she opened the door. They were inside, I think, one of the rooms, but I don't think she heard. Whereas Jacqueline definitely heard the girl speaking about her, and Kate definitely heard the other girl speaking about her and the whole Trump thing. So there's that tension that everyone is gossiping about everyone. Yeah. Everyone knows it. And then even the fact that Kate was like, oh, after Jacqueline has slept with Valentin, and, you know, Kate was like, just hold off, like, we don't have to talk about it. To me, that's the reason why there was so much friction and so much division in the group to begin with, because no one wants to speak about the issues.
And you kind of get it in the sense of, like, Shoshana and I, again, we're talking about this off air, and I was saying, if you don't see your friends for ages, like, I think you get the impression they've probably not even seen each other for 2 or 3 years, maybe. And then you get together, you don't want to be the one to be like, and another thing I don't like about you is X, Y, and Z. You're just putting it in the back of your head, put it to the side. We only have a week together, let's just have a good week. And then after this, I don't have to see her for a while and I'll be over it, right? And I think that is a lot of people's mindsets when they don't see their friends that often. If you see your friends all the time, it becomes a lot easier to be like, you're annoying me today. Yeah. Because you know I'm going to see you tomorrow. And you know, I like, we'll resolve. We will get over this. But for the time being, stop it. Yeah. Like, stop it. So they're like holding on to all of that tension, thinking they're helping the other people. Like, I think they're like, oh, I don't want to create a negative environment or a hostile environment, so I'll keep it to myself. But like, the tension is like emanating off you. Like, it is so thick in the air right now that like, there is no way we're going to get past this. And it's actually quite telling the way that they will react to Laurie being like, I think it's quite funny that you slept with Valentin. Yeah. And Jacqueline's like, I don't know what you're talking about at first. And it's like, well, we saw you. Yeah. And then Kate kind of, you know, Kate in the middle being like, well, we did, but who cares? You know, just trying to play that like middle ground thing of like, I don't care whether you're going to take responsibility for this right now. I'm not, you know, Laurie is not lying here. And actually the way I think this should be handled is that you go, yeah, I did sleep with him, LOL, and then we all move on. But Laurie's not going to let this go because you were literally going to lie to us about this. Yeah. And you can't answer her question of why were you pushing him onto me if you wanted him or if you knew you were going to do that. And
that's why I think that's when Jacqueline started to lash out and then started to unearth the issues that she's had about Laurie. Talking about, oh, you know, you seem to be miserable. Your life seems disappointing. Is it because of the divorce? And all these things start to come out, and you're like, oh, is it because Laurie told you about yourself? Is it because Laurie told you that you slept with the guy that you were pushing onto her?
But doesn't that happen sometimes?
It does.
Like you guys are all going about your day, and someone does something, you call it out as something. They've got a list of issues with you, and it's like, whoa.
But the good thing, I think, the way with the storytelling and the series is that this has been brewing, so you knew this was eventually going to come out at one point. And I remember when I was watching the episodes, I was like, who needs enemies when you have friends like these? Honestly, who needs enemies? Like, you have these people who, and it comes towards the end, like, they know every single part of your life. They know all the decisions you've made, and they have thoughts and comments and gossip about what they think is wrong with your life or what you should do better. But they may not tell you straight away because maybe they don't want to have a confrontation, or in this case, I think they have a thrill of like, this is just between us two.
I mean, gossip is not, I don't know if I would say gossip makes you someone's enemy. Gossip is actually quite harmless. I'm not actively trying to ruin your life. I'm not plotting on your downfall. I'm just saying it's kind of crazy that she did that thing. We're not going to sit here and say we haven't said about Fred. Oh, it's kind of crazy that she's done that thing.
100%.
We love that person still.
No, 100%.
Sometimes I think maybe sometimes gossip is what keeps a friendship healthy. It's how I can let go of something. Like, that was weird, right? I'm not crazy. It's so I don't build a resentment. I'm not stewing on something in my head long enough to be like, oh, I actually don't like her.
But I think in this instance, I got the impression, especially when they started to have that argument, and Jacqueline was bringing up all those things about Laurie, and then Laurie started bringing up those things about Jacqueline, and it starts to erupt that, like, is there a friendship here? And maybe towards the end, right at the end, when they have that, like, they come to Jesus moment and they have that conversation and they talk about the things that they're grateful for, I started to think, oh, maybe this it's quite a toxic friendship, because it did come across quite toxic, but deep down, even though they only see each other, every couple of years, they know that because of the tenure and the foundation they've had of this friendship over, I'm gonna assume, decades, that they can't really leave each other, and they're still a unit regardless. Sometimes gossip is harmless, but I just think the way that it was depicted in the show was almost like, it felt quite, insidious maybe a bit too of an extreme of a word, but it definitely felt like a lot of judgment. And I think that is what gossip is. But I definitely felt like it was more like, I don't think it was putting any of the other girls in a great position. And I think it showed that, like, we are not on the same page, like, especially when there were girls talking about Trump and like, oh, how can she vote for Trump, or Laurie going through a divorce. Like, do you think it's because of her just like only devoting her whole life to work? It just felt like this is not a true friendship. It didn't feel like there was support behind it. Which you can't depict this 3-hour conversation. This is for the show, but I didn't get that these are true friends.
Yeah, I think I disagree in the terms of, like, I think the reason why I disagree is because nothing they said was a lie. You're saying okay, didn't put them in a good light, but none of the things that they said was a lie. It is weird that you support Trump if I've known you to be a more liberal person. Then it's like, what has happened in that time? I think maybe they didn't have the language to like be like why to all of these things to each other, because as we've spoken about today, some people read or react to confrontation or assume there's confrontation even when you're not trying to confront them, right? It felt to me like they were having conversations between each other, and yes, of course the conversations were catty and gossipy, but it felt like they were having conversations between each other that they could not have with the person that they ought to have it with. Like, I'm not gonna turn around to my friend who supports Trump, not me, these people, and be like, why do you support Trump? Because that feels confrontational, that's gonna make her upset. It's for you and I to be like, since when was this a thing? Did I miss something? What does that mean? It's not putting you in any position because you do support Trump. If I was lying, fair enough, tell me I'm a liar, but you do. The thing with Laurie, at the end, when they had the argument, she said, you seem miserable. Laurie then says, yes, I have been miserable. I am miserable. Like, we don't all of us, I feel like, have the language to be able to come to our friends and be like, well, we're quite lucky because we do have this in our friendship group, but most people don't have the language to go up to their friend and be like, I'm having a really hard time.
Yeah.
Like, I am not doing well. When I'm spending time with you guys, I want to be here, but I can't because all I'm being reminded of is how much I am not in a good place right now. And they don't have that. They strike me as women of that age, and because gossip is so often used as a way to deal with your problems, like, we'll just gossip about it and leave it there. They don't have there is no forum for them to have these conversations. The only time they can have those conversations is when they fight. And I think that's why I think you calling it toxic like tracks for me, in the sense of like, if you're gonna wait until we have a big blow up for us to have these real conversations with each other, that is toxic. Like, we should be able to have these conversations beforehand. But I think that those arguments did bring them closer together, because we've been wanting to say to you, you don't seem good. That's what we've been wanting to say. We didn't know how else to say it, so we whispered about it behind your back. But the truth is, I'm saying it to your face right now, you don't seem good. Are you good? Laurie wasn't good. And so I was like, for me, I read it as like, okay, it's a really interesting depiction of like of an unhealthy friendship, but it's still like a version of friendship, right? And a version of friendship that so many people have. And so when Laurie makes that speech at the end about how like, no, it has been really hard for me to be on this trip, because spending time with you guys, it's just making me really aware of the choices that I've made in my life, and how that makes me feel like we're so far away from each other. But equally, I love you guys, and I you know, it is an honor to be able to share your life with people. Like, you would not argue like that with people that didn't know you that well, because they wouldn't know that you were miserable. They wouldn't know that you've been through shit. They wouldn't know to say that stuff. And I mean, like I said to you earlier, I think I've just become a lot more sentimental in my old age. But also, I really love when people are able to succinctly wrap up an emotion, like succinctly depict an emotion. And I don't think I've ever heard anyone voice that thing of like, it is hard. It is hard, the older you get, to spend time with people that you grew up with, whose lives are very different to yours. Because you just find yourself thinking, oh, should I be doing what she's doing? What the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? But you still love them, and you still do feel so honoured to be a part of their lives. And it's a constant seesaw of like, God, I feel like shit when I see you sometimes. But also I can't imagine my life where I didn't see you. And it is that seesaw. And I've never seen anyone really like encapsulate that seesaw. And so that I found really moving, because I was like, I think a lot of people feel exactly what Laurie is feeling in this moment before, and haven't had the words to describe it. I know I have. So in the end, I found that like that whole storyline in the trip, even though someone was like, oh, they have that, Laurie makes that speech, and then as soon as the gun starts going off, she runs away and leaves. And I was like, well, that is Laurie down though. Like, she's the more athletic of the group.
True.
She's just, what was she supposed to do? Get shot?
She runs fast, but the other girls are like standing around.
Yeah,
didn't
like, someone fall in the water?
That was the maybe he was the butler. Oh no,
Sorry,
Valentine is the health mentor. But there's the guy at the
I knew he wasn't a butler.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I have to go and
I know
check.
who you mean.
He's the guy that's at the like not cashier, but he's the one who's like helping in terms of signing people
like
in.
A manager or something.
Yeah.
Receptionist.
Yeah. Signing people in.
You're just saying to everything I say. He was a ghost.
No. He was
a German guy.
Yeah, because he definitely wasn't Thai. He was struggling with his Thai.
He was in.
I think he was a receptionist.
He was in Zone of Interest as well.
I haven't seen it. Is it on Netflix?
It's a film. I watched it on Prime, but it was like Oscar nominated or Emmy nominated. It's about the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And he looks completely different in that film.
Oh,
and
really?
if someone hadn't said that, I would have been. There was no way I was going to connect the dots. So thank you to whoever tweeted that.
He's general manager.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, what was I going to say about Laurie? I was going to say that speech, and there's a lot of Emmy buzz around Laurie's character, which I think rightfully so. I definitely think that she had a really strong like character development from episode 1 all the way to the end. But I do think that speech was a saving grace, because I was definitely a saving grace in terms of my perspective of their friendship, because I definitely was like, this is the type of friendship that after this trip, I did not expect any of them to ever speak to each other again. But when she said that, I was like, well, maybe this was all of their come to Jesus moments, that actually, let's just talk openly and honestly. And I'm speaking from someone who doesn't love confrontation, so I can very much relate to the three of their dynamics. But I definitely felt with Laurie's speech that she truly loved them, but also it's a whole thing like, I can't escape you guys.
Yeah, because I don't think that they're gonna change for having had that speech.
No,
like, they're gonna do the exact same shit going forward, but that's who they are.
Yeah, and if they accept that, they've accepted it, that's just the way their friendship is, and maybe that's what's keeping it going. But also, I think it's the fact that they don't see each other very often.
Yeah,
I think had they saw each other very often and continued that kind of behavior, it would lead to more blow-ups, obviously, but also maybe it was cause them to drift away after a time. Who knows? But I think it was a really interesting, and I was gonna say, well, engaging like depiction of friendship, which I think carried definitely the first couple of episodes, which didn't have as much going because you were just building the story and understanding the different characters in the other groups. But I think, yeah, they were also one of my favorite in terms of just like knowing them from beginning to end and feeling that I got to know them as well. Should we move on to Chelsea, Rick, Greg, and Chloe?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really consider Greg and Chloe to be part of the Rick
Chelsea
I mean storyline really, because like Rick's storyline we can really sum up in like a sentence. He went to Thailand to go kill the guy who killed his dad, and it turns out that the guy was his dad.
Yeah, after that shock, I was like, oh, okay, so this is what it was all for.
I found it, but I was like, of course he's gonna be his dad.
Yeah,
I didn't think that story is bullshit. You'd have to be a child to
think it was his father, did you? I didn't actually think.
Oh, I'm here to kill the guy who killed my dad. Don't know how your dad died, first of all. Don't know anything about your dad, but you do know who this guy is. And then he gets there, and he's like the same age as your dad would have been at the time. And it's like, are you sure that this is the guy who killed your dad? Or is he not your dad?
I've only watched it today. I did not think too deeply into that part. But I think it was...
It had to be, because otherwise what the storyline is, he went to go and kill the guy who killed his dad, and then he didn't kill him.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Look, I wasn't thinking that deeply into it until the gun started showing up.
It's just not... The story is not complete.
Yeah.
So I was like, there is no way this is how that story... I desperately wanted it to be. Because I was like, oh, this could be a really interesting story about how, like, people seeking closure... Like, closure's not going to give you what you want it to give you. And then it was like, no. But that makes sense. There's no way he's grown over a week.
It's
true. To
true.
a point where he's not going to kill the guy that he spent his entire life, by the way, planning to come kill.
But perfectly honest, I actually thought once he got back to, I think maybe they were in Phuket, after he left Bangkok, I was like, okay, maybe for him it's about closure, like forgiveness, or knowing that this is out of his control. He wasn't able to kill him, and that was it. Honestly, that's what I thought, because mind you, up to that point, I was still worried about Natasha Rothwell's character, Belinda's character, and being like, is she going to die at the end of this episode? Because we had seen the gun appear quite a few different times in the episode, mainly around the Ratcliffe's family. I forgot the name wrong. Yeah,
it is Ratcliffe.
And the Ratcliffe family. And then the gun had been retrieved back by Guy Talk. So I thought that part was resolved. So I was like, okay, we haven't seen anything else. It's probably gonna be Belinda. She's gonna die. That's what I kept on thinking towards the end, because I was like, there's nothing else. He's come back. But that being said, Chelsea, played by Amy Lou Wood, she mentioned that during the holidays, she has experienced quite a lot of incidents surrounding her that's caused her to be in danger. Firstly, the snake biting her. So the second thing was...
No, it wasn't the first thing that she was in the robbery of the shop. She was in the shop when the shop got robbed.
Thank you. Yeah, she was a robbery of the shop. Second one was the snake biting, and she was like, these type of things happen in threes. And the third thing was, her being shot and shot dead. And so actually, that comes to think of it, that was a full circle moment. But I didn't think too much of it because my worry was Belinda, and I think we can probably move on to her.
Yeah, I just want to say that I really wanted him to get with the woman he was meditating with.
Really?
Yeah, I was just kind of like, yeah, this is doing something for me, I think. She's like getting through to him in a way that Chelsea's not able to get through to him. So I was like, maybe this is the love story. So at the end, and I knew it as well, at the end when he was like, I really need to talk to you, she was like, sorry, I have to go. And it's like, you actually could take 5 minutes. I don't believe that you don't have 5 minutes right now to talk this guy off a ledge. Because if you talked him off a ledge, there wouldn't have been a shooting at the fucking hotel.
True.
But the way she kept to be like, I'll talk to you in an hour. I can't, I have to go. I was like, here we go.
More plot.
Here we go. He's going to do something crazy in that time.
Yeah.
I do feel like the final 20 minutes, 10 minutes did feel tonally like, I guess it kind of felt like when Jennifer Coolidge was on that boat shooting all those games. This is stupid, actually. Every ending just ends up being just like, the violence is always dumb. Whereas I felt like, I know there wasn't any violence with the other. Yeah, it was just her, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just for series 2.
Yeah,
it was just.
I thought something happened with the other couple.
Wasn't it Leo Woodall's character?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Didn't he get shot?
What happened to him? Was he on the boat? No. Was he on the boat?
No, he wasn't. He was with his uncle. Oh, his uncle was sleeping with him.
His uncle.
Quote uncle.
Yeah, well, this show loves incest, clearly. His uncle's sleeping with him. This guy's getting John. What's going to happen next?
I don't even want to know because I feel like we're just pushing it.
Just two twins mooching. What was I saying? Yeah, the final 10 minutes just always feels very like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, whereas in the first season, I found the death that happened to be like genuinely in the sense of like, oh no, like that was just, everything was perfectly lined up, whereas this was like, what was his plan? To go back to the hotel of the guy who just threatened and spend the rest of your trip there, and he wasn't going to ever turn up there and not ask you nothing, no. And then when you saw him, your thought was, let me go shoot the guy this time. I didn't want to shoot him before.
But I'm going to do it now.
But I do want to shoot him now. And why did he want to shoot him the second time? Is it because he didn't even know that was his dad at that point?
No, but you know what? I think it's because he saw him being happy. Because he was taking a photo with Jacqueline. Yeah, and he looked happy. And then that's when you were talking about the music. And that's when the music really heightened up. And you're like, okay, something's going to happen. He gets mad. He's like, you know what? Forget this. Runs up to him, picks the gun and shoots him.
Why didn't you shoot him at his house?
I think it was the fear. I should know what? I don't know. It could have been plot. The shootout had to happen at the resort.
Yeah, I think it was plot because at the house, you're right, I got the impression that he really started to realise that he was going to have to shoot this old man, and he was like, no, that's not me, actually, I'm not trying to do all of that.
Even though you had already plotted it, brought your friend as an accomplice, and was like, no, it's fine.
But something about seeing him at the hotel was like, I'm ready to shoot this
exactly. No, you can't be happy. I think he's like, when I saw you knocked off your chair in fear, I got the satisfaction. Whereas now I'm seeing
you
happy.
Why don't you go push him in the water then?
He should have. One other thing I forgot to mention about Rick is that conversation he had with his friend Justin. I think.
Oh my god, it's fantastic!
I have to be honest. I remember sitting there and.
Who is Leslie Bibb's husband, by the way?
Really?
Yeah, who plays Kate?
Yeah. Also, Leslie Bibb, she looks familiar.
Yeah, she's been in like a bunch
of stuff, but I couldn't put my finger on like exactly what I've seen her in as to why she's so familiar. But anyway, so that conversation she has with that conversation that Rick has with Justin was the one where I was like, huh? But mind you, I shouldn't be shocked because I've already seen a brother jerk off his other brother.
No,
like, it's just wild.
Dead right. I think everyone watching that scene was Walter Goggins, who had the best reactions to that conversation. Just like,
Now, for context, so Justin, how it started was Justin said that he no longer drinks, because it sounds like they're friends, they're buddies, they used to go out and party a lot.
Yeah. Again, we don't know where these two men know each other from.
Exactly.
Which is why I was like, what is his job?
Yeah.
I don't think it's business.
No,
Because why do you know this one guy who likes to dress at one point? And his speech is, I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
Because the drinking was linked to this. Oh, and I don't have sex. I'm completely celibate because I realised that I have an addictive personality.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink too much. If I'm going to have sex, I'm going to have prostitutes coming back to my house all the time. Then that's going to get boring. Then I'm going to want to get late. I'm going to want to bring someone to fuck the prostitutes while I watch.
Yeah.
Then that gets boring. So I bring a lady boy back and then have the lady boy fuck me. But then that gets boring. Then I dress up as a lady boy. I dress up as a lady boy and watch the lady boy and someone else fucking. And then it was just like, where does it end? Then I was like, am I trans? Like
he just kept on going. He was like, oh, then one time the lady boy had sex with me, and then I kept on imagining myself as an Asian woman.
Yes,
he mentioned that
like,
so many times.
So I started dressing up as a woman.
And they kept on feeding, this is how an Asian woman would feel.
And then he was like, because I realised what I wanted to feel is what it felt like to be fucked by me.
Yeah. But he was like, but you know, I don't miss the alcohol, but I miss the sex. I said, that is a story.
You could have just said, yeah, I don't know, it's getting a bit crazy, and left it there.
It there. Rick's character, Rick just was like, cool.
So do you have that gone? It's like, how do I even follow this
Exactly.
now?
He was like, what? And then also there's no need for this story. Even the fact that, okay, after Rick knocks down the old man, we find out is his father later on, and Rick and Justin go and party, and there's drugs and there's women. We still would never have needed to know that story.
No, we could see it from the fact that there were women in
exactly
coming as Rick is leaving.
Yeah.
Also, can I just something that also now doesn't make sense? The wife says he's your dad. He told me yesterday.
Yeah.
So after he came to the house, he's gone to his wife. Oh, that was my son. And then they stayed in the house all night. Yeah. They turned up at the hotel, again, with no intention to go find this guy or speak to him.
But then Rick does see the old man, or the father, and the father's trying to kick him off the hotel, or kick him out of the hotel.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense.
Not to say, well, I guess he was just never going to say nothing.
Probably. But again,
maybe it's embarrassing to be like, hey, I'm your dad, after your kid pulls a gun on you.
Maybe, but again,
he's only pulled a gun on you because he thinks you're a murderer.
But wouldn't the woman have been like, go and speak to your son, go and connect with your son?
Plot. The plot had to plot.
Yeah.
We needed to get to the shooting, and we can't get to the shooting if his dad comes up to him and says, "Listen, I love you, and I want us to have a family to love together."
I mean, it would have been too neat of a closure, even though at that time I felt that the closure of Rick's storyline was like he accepted. He does not judge anymore. He moves on. Yeah. But that was not going to be the case. And
I actually found the dad thing to be a bit like, ugh. Like, oh, okay, sure. Really? Of course it's his dad. Like I said, I was already like, oh, they're going to make it that that's his dad. And then when they didn't, when he went to the house, I was like, oh, maybe they're just going to leave it. And then it was like, oh, he's your father. He told me yesterday. It's like, how convenient that he told you yesterday and now I'm dying and he's dying.
I think I didn't particularly like the way it was revealed, but also there's no other way to reveal it after you shot him. And her saying it straight away was like, it felt like a Tyler Perry kind of plot device.
He's your daddy.
Like, no, you're not. I am your daddy. Like, it just felt really... It felt too quick. Yeah. Like, I would have loved it. Like, he shot him, you know, Riggs gets caught in prison. The woman goes up to him and, you know, you shot your dad.
Oh, like, I think I would have liked it if it was... Actually, I don't know.
I felt like it was just too quick of a reveal.
I would have been okay with it if she'd said it and then we got to see that play out for Rick. Because there's no time for him to even react to that. He just sort of has to turn around and run now because he's shot this guy. Yeah. Whereas if there was a moment of him hesitating, like, should he help with the body because it's his dad now, but also, shit, I've got to go. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then get up. Then there'll be a little bit of the, like, wow. But, yeah, it's the fact that there was no real time for him to react to that and he's just got to run and then he gets shot. And then the girlie gets shot, and then he has to carry the girlie, and then he
true.
gets shot.
Also, that is there like a famous scene where like someone's been held?
Probably.
I know it was giving me like cinematic. You know, I just can't remember what film.
Doesn't that happen in Romeo and Juliet?
Maybe, but I was also finding it quite hard to believe their romance and their love. It felt like the whole time.
That's why I said he should have got with the meditation.
He should have, because the whole time Chelsea's character seemed like it was an actual annoyance. Like she was a gnat to Rick the whole time. Like, why don't you love me? Why are we doing this? Why are we back in Thailand? And I understand why she was asking questions, because you've been told we're not going to Bali, we're going to Thailand. You're not being given much answers. She's trying to get clarity. She's made friends with Chloe, and there's also that kind of disconnect in the way they even view life. Like Chloe's about spirituality, whereas Ricky's just there. He's just out, Chelsea. And yeah,
I think maybe it will make a bit more sense on a rewatch, because obviously the first time I was watching them, I had the same questions you had, which is like, I don't understand what the dynamic is here. Maybe if I went to watch it again, I'm assuming there's something in her being some kind of spiritual guide.
Maybe,
like her saying that bad things happen in free, almost like knowing that her time was up, and then when she's talking to Saxon in the bedroom, and her saying like, we have some of us have been born specifically like linked to each other. We have united purposes. We're supposed to carry out these deeds that will lead to like the future together. Like that. Maybe that is a reading of her relationship with Rick. It's like, this is more than just like, it's not a romantic relationship so much as she's been called to help him on his journey, even though he probably would have still done what he did without her, is the only thing. But like, again, I don't know, that one might require a rewatch for me, because I struggled to buy. I think the only thing that I liked about it was that obviously you've got all of these people with all of these old men, and it's like they don't really like those old men, they want money, but she seemed to really like him.
Okay,
even if he didn't seem to like her.
That's true. There must be something deeper to it. Okay, maybe this is a personal thing, maybe I'll cut this out, but like, did you think that Amy Lou could act very well? There was moments like that scene in the robbery that I was like, I'm not buying this. Like, you're not scared. Like, someone is got a gun out, smashing glasses and stealing everything. You're just like,
I think that's what she's like. To be honest, I didn't watch Sex Ed, but I think that is what she's like, because I think it's quite interesting. She said in an article recently, I can't remember if it was The Guardian or whatever, but she basically said, the producers had said to her, "Oh, Mike really fought for you. You know, he went into HBO and he said, like, I'm not doing this if it's not if it's not Amy. Like, she's who I want." And so the producer was saying again, Mike wanted you even though no one else did. And then she said, "Oh yeah, as soon as I heard that, all I took from that, maybe they didn't say no one else did, but all she took from the Mike really fought for you was like, oh, HBO didn't want me." And she was like, yeah, and I assumed HBO didn't want me because I'm ugly. And I was like, damn, that is crazy for you to have been on a really successful show, to go on to another really successful show and still be like, oh, this is what this is the truth that people don't really.
And there's a lot of conversation about her teeth and all that nonsense.
Yeah,
but like,
I don't. She definitely grew on me as the series went on. I think a lot of people found her really charming from Sex Ed. Again, I didn't watch it, so I can't really speak on that. But she did grow on me, and by the end, I was like, oh, there is a little bit of a. There are some of the places, like some of her scenes with Saxon, I'm like, she's. There is a glint. There's a glint there, like the way she's able to switch on this like slightly dopey, and then suddenly she's very switched on with Saxon and being like, I don't like you. Your life is sad, and you're gonna die alone. Anyway, I wonder what Rick's doing. Is like, oh yeah, there is something happening here.
That's kind of like her character in Sex Ed. She had that like ditzy, heads in the fairies and kind of thing, but at times very switched on.
Yeah, that's basically what this character was. I'm sure Mike White was like, I wrote this character for her, you know. So I think she was just playing a version of that character. I honestly don't know. She's got that comedy on the BBC, which I've not watched, but it again looks like the same character.
And then she was also in Toxic Town, which I haven't watched.
Yeah, I haven't watched that either. I was gonna ask you.
She's getting a lot of great credits, and I think
Good for her.
she's definitely. I think Sex has been a great, launch pad for a lot of careers, like from Doctor Who, with what's this guy's name?
Shooty.
With Shooty, the girl who's in Barbie that looks exactly like Margot Robbie, with and Amy Lou as well. I think she's doing really
Emma
well.
Mackey.
Yeah, so
I just 3 people.
And then the other guy, the guy who looked like the father like a lot. They casted that really well. Yeah. But Shooty, like they weren't partners, but they had a romance. Yeah. But I just think that there was times when I was like the acting came a bit patchy. Well, the performance was a bit patchy for me.
Mm-hmm.
But generally towards the end, she was good. But I just was like, am I missing something? Like it felt like there should be a bit more.
I wonder if also like she feels so like, again, talking about performances, right? And how you can have like 2 different performances opposing each other. Walton Goggins feels like he's in this like revenge thriller, and she feels like she's in like a Carry On Camping type comedy of manners, where it's like someone's taken this Yorkshire lass and put her in a, like, do you know what I mean? Like it is actually. And I think that draws attention to both their performances in that sense, because I did find myself being like, are we supposed to be laughing here? Are we supposed to be serious? Because she just feels like she just gives comedy.
Yeah.
And in those places, I do think, like, White Lotus, when it is right, straddles the balance between all of those different genres really well. And when it's wrong, you just find yourself being like, what is this?
Yeah.
And there were definitely moments throughout the season where I was like, what is this? And then other moments where I'm like, oh, thank God, White Lotus is on. What else would I be watching? Yeah. Like it's really tricky that thing.
Yeah, because I think talking to that point where like when White Lotus hits that sweet spot, Jennifer Coolidge, I think, and the mum who plays of the Ratcliffe family, that's that sweet spot of like comedy but drama but a bit silly but then but also there's this entitlement of being in this environment, this very wealthy
and grounded somehow as well. Like they're big characters, but they also feel like those women exist. That woman exists somewhere right now.
Same thing with Belinda, and I think I'll keep on going back to her. One, because I think I do love Natasha Rothwell and her career, but also her character felt really grounded, but also relatable as well. Where she was like, "Look, I'm burnt out, and can't a girl just get a break? I just want to be rich. I don't want this for my life." And there was something that I really loved about her character, but also just her involvement in the series and that balance against the guest. And I know she was a guest, but she's also has that connection to White Lotus as well. The romance that she built with one of the employees, and like that being really sweet and endearing, and then the fact that she left with $5 million. And the whole time I kept thinking, Greg's gonna kill her.
The $5 million situation is tough, isn't it? Because
and the son coming in and like, no, we're gonna negotiate.
You're rooting for Natasha Rothwell's character, but also you have taken money from a murderer to keep his secret. Yeah. Like, I feel like that what I've decided to take away from it is that, like, if you're gonna play in that world, you have to be like one of those people. And it's actually kind of like quite surprising to me how quickly she's able to do that.
Yeah.
You thought there'd just be a little bit more resistance, but even when she gets up and she walks out, and then the son follows her, and he's like, "Okay, pretend I'm playing hardball. Go back in there and say that I want this." Like, oh, because yesterday you were saying you wasn't going to take the money, but now today you want $5 million. Got it. Like, it was just such to me like it felt like a payoff for that character, because obviously we left her in season 1. Exactly in the position that she was when she started, and now it feels like she got the money that had been promised to her, but under kind of shady dealings in a way that's like, okay, you were maybe one of our last moral characters in this, and now you're part of
one of them,
the thing. And maybe that's just like their message is like, if you're not gonna get to live that life until you're willing to make those kind of choices,
that is very true.
Some of us aren't willing to make those choices, and that's why we're gonna be poor the rest of our lives. Some of us.
Even though, yeah, she took money from Greg, and I was worried for her safety, and I still kind of am. I want her to get as far away as possible from Thailand and be completely untraceable because he may come back. But I felt like I wish she deserved it, and I think the way that you could see the stress that throughout the episode of her just talking about like, I can't girl just get a break, and that's why I was kind of rooting for her, even though it's like it's immorally moral for what she did, but I was rooting for her, and it was a nice like wrapping of her storyline at the end. I think we've talked about all the main moments. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
I just wanted to say that like I really also liked Guy Tuk's storyline with the robbery and him wanting the promotion but not having the stomach for violence. Because like that scene in when they go on the date and they're at the boxing match and the girl Mukka's like, you know, you need to be able to fight. Like you basically, if you're gonna be a man, you need to be able to fight. If you're gonna be promoted, like you need to know how to do this stuff. And like it was very clear that she had lost interest in him because he had revealed himself to be quite weak. And I thought that was really interesting because up until then they've got this like cute little romance going on, but actually she's, you know, I mean maybe she's just more practical than he is. Maybe he genuinely is too soft. But I kind of felt for him that his journey had to be like one of, are you willing to kill?
Yeah.
And I guess, yeah, if you want to be a bodyguard, you kind of have to be willing. You kind of do need to be willing to kill. But him like hesitating over shooting Rick for as long as he does, for him to get that promotion is crazy. He's like stood there not shooting the guy. She's like shoot him, and then they're like, congrats, you're a bodyguard now. Like, what?
I think it's the whole like moral compass. Like we need a couple characters to have a moral compass.
But he didn't. He shot that guy.
Yeah,
in the back. He was walking away from you.
You know, you were asking for a struggle between like a moral struggle between Rick. We got it at least with someone. Because you were like, you could see he was like hesitant, like, I don't know if I want to kill, I don't know if I want to shoot.
But was he hesitant because of moral, or was he hesitant because he was scared?
I think a bit of both. A bit of both. And knowing, maybe he didn't think, oh, this is my moment to shine. He was just like, do I do this? Do I do this?
Yeah, I think the reason why he pulled the trigger was because he was thinking about his future. He didn't pull the trigger because he thought it was the right thing to do. The guy's walking away from me, he's not a threat.
Yeah, but when someone's shouting, you shoot.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the person who said they're going to give you a promotion, so that's why he shot.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I think it's the adrenaline of like, this is the situation and this is the guy that killed
No, because he didn't go to pick up the gun. He didn't go to do the shoot. If the woman had not told him to shoot, that guy would not have shot.
Yeah.
No, I don't personally buy that for a second. I think the girl he had got in his head, it had become clear to him that like, you are going to have to prove your mettle if you're going to get this job. And what better way to do that? I'm not saying he went in there being like, yeah, I'm going to shoot someone to... But I'm saying the opportunity arose where she said, pick up the gun, like, do something. He picked up the gun, the guy was walking away. That's why he didn't shoot initially. If he'd been walking towards him, I'm sure he would have shot that. But he was walking away. There is no reason for me to shoot you right now. Yeah. But my boss is saying shoot. And I got to think about my future and my girlfriend, and I might lose her. So, bang, bang, bitch.
Oh gosh.
I don't know why that would be better. Now you've got 2 dead bodies.
Yeah, exactly.
3 dead bodies when you could have just had the 2. But where was he going anyway? To walk into the water?
Yeah, I had no idea. But he was like, oh, I want to... Also, he couldn't
we
save
will
her
be together, my love, or whatever it was.
Because at one point I thought he was going to kill himself. Like, the things we had seen so many people attempting to shoot themselves in the head, whether that's the father, the Ratliff father, or even him. I just thought someone's going to shoot. Someone's going to kill themselves.
Yeah, it's crazy that the Ratliffs all made it out in one piece.
When the son came back to life, I was like, that's plot. Because really and truly, he should be dead.
Well, they just wanted to teach the dad a lesson. Well,
it's good. Because it also is wild. Again, with family like that, who needs enemies? Who needs enemies? It was, to me, it was crazy.
What are you going to give out of 10?
I really enjoyed it. I'm going to do this big caveat. I've watched series 2 and I've watched series 3 and I binged them both. I need to watch the next series. Actually, I think I need to also watch series 1, which is what I said about series 2. But I'm like, I want to watch it on a week by week basis and see how I would feel. I'm glad I watched it. I binged through it because we were going to discuss it for the pod. But I want to see whether I would feel differently if I was watching this on a week by week basis, because I have more time to stew and really like think more about the characters and the dynamics. Or would I have been impatient and like given up and then just been through the last 5 episodes if the pace was slow? But overall, I really did enjoy the series. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as series 2, but I did still enjoy it. So I probably would give it a 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'll give it an 8. I really do enjoy being in that world.
Yeah.
I think there's so few shows where you're just in a world, like sometimes like the story is not like the most important thing. Like sometimes it's just like, oh, I feel like I went on holiday watching the show.
Yeah.
I do think this felt, of the 3 seasons, the weakest. But then I'm glad that they had Natasha, like they brought Natasha Rothwell back, so that was like kind of made up for it. Will I watch the next season? Of course. Like let's not even lie. I'm looking forward to it. Don't know where we're going this time.
I was gonna say, where would you love to see it go in series 4?
The Caribbean.
Yeah, that's
Or Africa, like just somewhere else. Somewhere else.
I was thinking about it as well. Somewhere close to my heart would be Central or South America. I feel like it'd be somewhere like Mexico and like I think they call it the Yucatan region, and they have like the Mayan culture. Maybe a bit too similar to Thailand, but I think what is really interesting is maybe about how they position the series is that everything feels very rich in the culture and the history, and I feel like you could probably get something very similar in that kind of approach with Mexico, and also there's some really beautiful resorts. The resort reminded me of somewhere that I'd been, and I was like, wow, it was stunning. And I agree with you, it felt like I was on holiday watching a series. Where were they going in Africa?
They could go to lots of places. There are lots of gorgeous places in Africa.
Yeah. I just don't want it to be stereotypical. I want it to be like, somewhere that's really rich in history and culture that can lean into and have more black characters.
I agree.
I mean, Natasha, she kept it down for us, but I really, after 3 seasons of this, I would love to see some more black guests. I would love to see some black guests. Has there been black guests in series 1? Yeah, we need some black guests. That's pretty much it for the White Lotus.
Yeah.
We'll be back with a really exciting review next time. This has been Scripts and Giggles with Shoshana.
And Marnie.
Bye guys.